subscribe, like, comment and share to support the channel. Thank you for the support. Midst of everyone being dead, I, the one who was supposed to be humanity's strongest warrior, am also dying. I really don't deserve the title of the strongest warrior because I had almost killed all the seven-finned. So, why is it that in the steel of the ancient king, there was an eight-finned demon? We humans really failed to understand the extent of these demons' powers. Continued to says that it was his fault, that he had failed to live up to the name of the strongest. The eight-finned demon looked at him with golden eyes. Wondered what it was trying to do. It flew and landed right in front of him, reaching towards him. Thought it was going to torment his corpse because of what he did. Darkness overwhelms him and soon he woke up in an unfamiliar place. Where am I? Didn't I just die? It doesn't feel like a dream. This feels so realistic. What's happening? Isn't this my face? Where's my handsomely plugged face and gorgeous physique? Who am I? Where am I? He was in Helios City. If you understand what taking part in the warrior exam signifies, it's protection. Helios City's 3rd Squadron leader, Jin No Tang, in the year 3069, after the enormous steels of the ancient king brought the apocalypse to our world, thousands of demons flooded out from them and slaughtered us humans. After experiencing the brutal battle in which humans were nearly driven to extinction, humanity finally managed to come up with a way to fight against these demons, grafting equipment. By recycling the internal cores of these demons, humanity was able to utilize the grafting equipment to temporarily obtain strength on par with those demons. 60 years ago, our greatest and strongest human soldier, the man who all warriors hailed as their leader, took charge of all warriors around the world. They battled in what would eventually be known as the strongest demonic wave in history. The battle raged on for many weeks, and humanity was plunged into darkness. Finally, humanity's warriors managed to push back the demonic wave, causing the demons to suffer a tremendous loss in exchange for 60 years of peace and progress for mankind. I've reincarnated 60 years later? I exclaimed. But at the same time, we've lost countless heroic warriors. Even the strongest warrior, was said to have died in battle against several highest-ranked seven-finned demons. Therefore, this battle between humanity and demons represents mankind's tenacity and determination to bring forth the dawn of a new era. This was recorded in history as the Battle for Dawn. Recalled his memory. No, that's not right. The seven-finned demon was not just the highest-ranked demon but an even higher-finned one. I didn't get a clear look, but I saw it. Humanity has not understood the extent of the demon's capabilities. Jin No Tang continues his speech. Without them, we would not have survived until now. We would have neither our homeland nor our current lives if not for them. Warriors, pillars of society who embody protection, do you understand what becoming one means now? Everyone shouted, "Yes, sir." Mumbled to himself, saying this isn't right, catching the attention of the commander. He looks at him while he was mumbling and went to him, telling he doesn't seem to understand what a warrior entails, asking what his name was. Hesitates to answer him, thinking, would anyone believe that we are reincarnated 60 years later into this weak and skinny body? The command spoke, I never would have thought. This is an insult to that great name. You have the same name as the greatest warrior, You're just a stupid bastard who doesn't have a single ounce of a warrior's spirit. And yet, you dare to desecrate that great name. How dare you, yells as he punches straight in the face. Thought to himself as he flew from the punch. Is this body really so trash that it can't even react to such a simple attack? But I can't believe this body has the same name as me. Lands onto someone. The commander begins to walk away, saying, I'll be keeping an eye on you in the upcoming warrior examination. Attention! Everyone replied, yes, sir. Make your way to the examination grounds. I'm still alive, at least. Says to himself. The man holding says, your name's right? It's a nice name. I'm Lon Snow. Nice to meet you. TCH. He's called You aren't any better. Did you think sharing a name would make you as strong as Ang? Said by Situliu, an evaluation soldier. How childish, she says as she leaves them. She's pretty stuck up, isn't she? My name is none of her business. Ang replied angrily. Snow mentions, do you not know who she is? She's the most promising warrior in our batch. Situliu is known as the cold-blooded demon and is also the eldest daughter of the most renowned martial arts family in Helios City, the Situ family. Situ, how does that name sound familiar? Ang thinks to himself as he pulls himself up. A bright flash covers them. Thanks. Whoa! What a dazzling display of brotherhood. Ah, don't mind me. Please continue. Ang asks who she was as he get a nosebleed. Snow asked if she just took the photo. Ang said that's not the point right now, and she says she did take the photo. She introduces herself as Suejo Yui, saying that the radiating bromance they had totally entranced her, making for good material. The guys think of her as a dimwit. At the fitness test venue, Ang is excited, saying my body may be in this state, but I'm ultimately still the strongest warrior. This test is easy, so just you wait. I'll definitely stun everyone by obtaining monstrous grades. First round of tests. Stage 1 of the fitness test, long-distance endurance test. Begin. Ang dashes forward, thinking to attain first place from just a single spurt of energy has to be record-breaking. Ang managed to break a record, the record of being in last place and having the worst record in the history of the long-distance assessment. Everyone laughed at Ang as he drops onto the ground. Fitness test stage 2, explosive arm strength test. F-duck, I sprained my wrist. Oh, I sprained my wrist. Ang, last place, was announced. Fitness test stage 3, explosive leg strength test. Ang had only managed to jump 1 meter, making it 3 out of 3, last place. Idiot, said Situ. Ang, your results for the fitness test put you in last place. You've obtained the worst results we've ever seen. You'll be eliminated. Brother Ang. Snow consoles Ang while Suejo says, is this the last time I'll be able to snap pictures of the place? That guy's results are simply awful. We can eliminate him right now, said a judge. There isn't much hope for that lanky monkey, but he does have the right to participate in the second round of tests. This will probably be his final assessment too. Let's begin with the second round, the commander replied. Next up, the second round of tests. You will be assessed on your synchronization with grafting equipment. Warrior examinees, please make your way to the testing venue. Ang smiled at the news, believing he has a chance. 60 years ago, the strongest with stable average synchronization rate of 96% and above, said Ang, this body isn't fit at all, but the synchronization rate is determined by one's willpower. Bunch of bastards mocked me. Just you wait and see. I'll show you the levels of synchronization rate that the strongest warrior can achieve, he said, filled with motivation. So this is what the grafting equipment looks like 60 years later. It's gotten a little lighter, Ang thought to himself. 39% synchronization rate. As expected of the strongest rookie of this year, Situ is in a martial arts family after all. I heard she's been undergoing harsh training since she was young. Nah, that's talent. Do you think you can get the top score on every test with hard work alone? Did you see her earlier? She's really pretty with a ponytail. I like it when her hair's loose, too. She's from a great family, she's strong, and she's beautiful. We really are background characters, huh? She's truly an unattainable flower. The crowd continues to talk. Not bad, Situliu. You got whopping 39%. Everyone at earlier, I'm sure it caused a sensation. I don't mind having more admirers, but it's still better to be low-key. Calm down, calm down. Situliu, you gotta keep your cool, she said to herself. As impressive as it is, this is only the assessment, but she already managed to get a synchronization rate of 39%. She's really strong, isn't she? Snow says. She's full of energy. I can feel the raging, imposing force hidden beneath her slender body. Snow continues to say. I can feel it too, said An. You don't seem nervous at all, though, Snow asked An. Oh, I'm good. I'm used to it, An replied. Used to it? Snow is surprised. As the assessment progressed, many rookies who endured the grafting equipment showed pained expressions, remarked someone. When one first undergoes grafting, a burden will be placed on the body due to the impact of the demonic core. Unable to withstand the pain, some would forfeit, explained another. I give up. I give up, I forfeit, yelled Suejo. The synchronization rate needs to reach at least 10% for one to pass, said another person. Synchronization rate 24%, announced someone making Snow pass the test. Of course, there were some unexpected scores too, added another. Suejo, warrior examinee. The synchronization rate is 30%. You have passed. We have found some seedlings with great potential this time. The commander says. Yes, including Suejo Yuhui, this assessment has already seen 6 examinees with a synchronization rate of and above. Compared to other C-rank cities, our current batch of rookie warriors is of pretty good quality. The lady reports. However, there are some inferior ones here too. As Ung walks up the stage, the crowd starts to talk, saying, Hey, it's that Ung guy's turn. Given his physique, I bet he'll vomit blood on the spot because of the burden on his body. Gah! Mama, in the first round of assessments, that idiot got last place in every single test. Laugh away, you inexperienced brats. Remember to pick up the used wipes from the floor later, Ong thinks to himself. I'll take the red strength core. Ong tells the instructor. Demonic cores collected from the battlefield can be categorized into different types. The most common ones are red, yellow, green, and blue. Red represents strength, yellow represents defense, green represents healing, and blue represents agility. However, there are 2 rare types of cores. The purple core represents imaginary power, and the black core represents time and space. The black core is especially hard to find. As for synchronization, the most important thing is willpower. The strength of one's willpower determines how much burden one can take from the demonic core. Moreover, it also determines one's mastery over the core. Grafting has succeeded. Are you ready? The instructor asks An. Yes, bring it on, An replies. A bright red light soon shines throughout the testing zone. What a strong reaction. Take a look. Take a look at the synchronization rate of the strongest soldier. An screamed in his mind. It has been increasing rapidly. It has already reached 40% in just a moment. 40%? Has anyone ever gotten a synchronization rate of 96% before? Raise it even higher. The instructors are yelling, in disbelief of what they are seeing. An forces himself to rise even further. What's going on? How could we be having such an absurd synchronization? Was there a mistake somewhere? The commander is shocked. It's still climbing. 65%. 70%, the lady reports. What's going on? 60% now? Is it me? Is the equipment malfunctioning? The crowd shouted, shocked by the results. I was once the strongest warrior, hailed as king by others, and if not for my low level of this synchronization, if not for my weak body, my imposing demeanor would have driven all of you to your knees. An stands up like a god and says, That's the difference between you and me, brats. But a sudden feeling like sinking into the ocean overcomes him. What happened? My strength disappeared. I can't move anymore, An tells the instructor. What the hell? It really malfunctioned. The synchronization rate instantly dropped to 10%. Yelling at An. Captain, we just detected that the demonic core has cracked. That abnormal core likely caused a data glitch. That was terrifying. The equipment, was malfunctioning. The commander was relieved to hear that. What happened? My synchronization rate stopped at 10%, correct? He asked her. Yes. He barely passed, she replied. Brother On, Snow yells, rushing over to On. Exactly. That only happened because of the abnormal, demonic core. And here I was, thinking he's amazing. Bah, the crowd says. Brother On, are you alright? Snow asks as On faints. You have a point. Look at that scrawny body of his. How could he have gotten that absurd synchronization rate? That synchronization rate is comparable to that of a captain from an S-rank city. Ha ha ha, the crowd continues to make fun of On. False. I wouldn't have been so easily beaten by someone less dazzling than me in this town. Never allow it. It's all my fault. Why did I try to compete with those brats? I'm glad I managed to pass. On says as he rests in Snow's arm. In the resting area, On wonders to himself, what was that just now? It felt like it came from the depths of my heart. It sucked out all my power in an instant. I've never heard of such a situation before. I clearly had enough willpower to maintain a synchronization rate of at least 80%. Even if it was a demonic core of the lowest level, it shouldn't have cracked like that. So, why did it happen? The doors open, and a man yells. Attention! Everyone in the room responded, yes, sir. Yes, sir. The commander enters the room and says, congratulations on making it into the final round of assessments. The practical test. You will now face a demon for the first time in your lives. I hope everyone here can pass this test safely and smoothly. Line up and head to the venue of assessment, now. Go! On tries his best to walk out the room as the commander stands beside him, looking at him and thinks as he clenches the red gem. I'm really curious about you, On. I wonder what you'll show me in the next assessment, hunting in the fog beyond the walls. Out in the open, the students are gathered in front of a massive wall. Someone shouts to open the compound door. Whoa! My God, this is the first time I've left the city after 60 years. Everyone lives in such isolated cities. Do you think the areas outside the gates are always covered in fog? The students discuss among themselves. The instructors yells at them, be quiet and leave the city. You should spend your time checking your equipment instead, or you could end up dead without even knowing it. Checks his equipment and thinks to himself. They gave me another intact strength cope, but I don't think the problem lies in the cope. Back then, my power dissipated once. Something in my body rejected it. Just what is going on? Is it a side effect of transmigration? As he walks out the door, a sudden feeling overwhelms him. The moment he stepped foot outside, a signal was sent all over the area. The demon beasts all sense it. Deep within a cave, the signal reaches a powerful demon. The demon, sensing it, stood up from its seat of bones and bodies, and couldn't believe that there was another demon that outranked it. What is that? Were all those things I saw demons? At that moment, I felt as though something was resonating deep within my heart. Ang is terrified at what he felt just now. Are you moving or not? Situ asks Ang as she stood behind him. Ang says sorry. Brother Ang, what's wrong? Snow asked as he approached both of them. The instructor in front yells the four at the back. Group up. The rest of the students are prepared, so hurry up and get over here. The four of them rush to join the others. Oh! Was forming a team your strategy? Sujio asks on. No! I was just don't drag the team down, Sichu tells on, but in fact she was feeling scared that nobody would want to team up with her. Let's go, brother On. We've got to do our best. Snow pats on back. The team is formed. Suijio says as she takes a selfie. Dispelling steel, a black steel made of a solid stone mixture. The stone contained within is a special substance that can dispel the fog. The instructor announces to the students. You will undergo a teamwork assessment in teams of 4. Make sure you all know what the test entails. It's venturing into the fog beyond the walls. Each team will now receive combat daggers as well as a mini fog dispelling device, made of the same material as the dispelling steel. Your mission is very straightforward. Enter the fog and make your way to the designated area. They have been marked with lights. Insert the device into the fog, hunt for demons. Your individual strength and cooperation will both determine whether you pass or fail this trial. Cooperation and individual strength are both crucial. All of you are now tasked with hunting in the fog beyond the walls. It is the terrifying trial rookies must face at the end. In this world covered in fog, the only way to survive is to have a strong team and the courage to face your fears. In the world covered in mist, the warriors are expected to face the unknown dangers that lurk in the mist. Good physique and skillfulness are not the only qualities needed to become a warrior. One also requires a strong mentality, fearlessness towards the fog, the ability to cooperate and rely on their team while facing the unknown, and the ability to overcome one's fears. To earn the title of warrior, the participants need to get a good look at the area, fight the demons that appear at random, and make their first kill. The speaker announces the assessment is over for one team, and the next team needs to get ready. A woman with orange hair is seen standing high above on the walls. She says out loud, "There are lots of outstanding rookies in this batch. My target is clear, though. The only one I'm interested in is Situlu from the Situ family." This was the Helios City 2nd Squadron leader Dada Gel. She turns and asks two others, "How about you guys? A seedling from a martial arts family. If she's guided well, she might become a great warrior," replied by 1st Squadron leader Joel. "There is another person worth watching out for the commander said as he looks down at the students. He thinks to himself, "I have sent it for checking, but there seems to be nothing wrong with the core. So what exactly happened back there?" As Gel taps his head and says, "What are you thinking about, Tang Tang?" "Don't call me that," Jean shouts while blushing. Joel says that Gel is the only one who can make you blush since the start, Tang Tan. "The same goes for you," Jean says to Joel. On a side note, have the demons' grades been confirmed? We must ensure that the test venue only contains the finless demons we prepared beforehand. Gel asks the both of them. "Yeah, don't worry. To ensure the participants' safety, we've checked over and over in the past few days that no one-fin demons are to be found within Helios City's vicinity." Jean replies, "If one really appeared, we've got to do everything we can to protect this batch of future warriors," said by Joel as the three of them watch over the students. The instructor calls out to the next group saying that the current group have finished and that the venue has been set up. The crowd talks as the next group was with Situlu and An. The four prepare themselves as An says that it's their turn now. Situ grabs the capsule from An, confusing him. She dashes forward quickly, turning back to tell them to follow her dazzling self. An is annoyed, wondering why she liked to have so much attention, and yells out to follow her. The three of them quickly chase after her. Situ jumps up high, flipping through the air before landing the capsule into the device. Gel says she has a recovery core, but her physique is no worse than those with the blue cores. Is this what the foundation of someone in a martial arts family looks like? Three red demons roar as they dash towards Situ. An yells to Snow breakthrough. Snow replies, "Got it." He preps himself before making a gigantic leap towards the demons, landing between them and Situ. The demons jump towards Snow as a yellow energy covers his fists. A yellow shield blocks the attack of the demons. Jean sees this and is impressed that Snow had gotten used to the core power. An arrives, telling Situ and Tomo to kill the demons one by one. They agreed. Covered in the aura of their stone, green, red, and blue, the three of them rush to the demons. Round 1, Tomo versus the demon. She easily slices it up and dropkicks the demon straight to hell. Before the demon could even land on the ground, Snow uses the 1-inch punch to send it flying. Joel praises their teamwork from above, noting that the girl in blue has enhanced the rhythm in her movements in a perverted way. Jean calls him out. Round 2, Sidhu versus the demon. She leaps and stabs the demon on its belly, causing it to explode in a green explosion as she walks away. Round 3, An versus the demon. He knees the demon in the balls, thinking to strike its 3 vital areas first: the neck, chest, and abdomen. As he rolls alongside the demon, knowing that his current body can only bring out a limited amount of power in one go, he thinks to use this battle to test his limits. He speeds over to the demon in an instant. The monster readies its fist to punch An as he dashes to it. An dodges the punch with ease. He returns a punch back to the monster, causing it to roar. He thinks that he didn't respond quick enough. The monster tries to kick An, but he dodges by bending backwards. He switches the knife to his left hand, turns over from the bent position, and stabs the monster in the stomach while thinking that his body coordination is poor as well. The monster shakes in pain and tries to claw it An, but he takes the knife out, leaping to the side, and slices the monster right in its mouth. The monster falls to the ground as An lands behind it, thinking he still doesn't have enough explosive power. The others look at him from the back. Snow says that he thinks An was just playing with his opponent, while Tomo hopes she captured Aang's fight on camera, and Sidhu thinks An just wanted to take the spotlight and was doing it on purpose. Up on the walls, Jel asks who the scrawny boy was and said that he was impressive. Joe adds on that Aang moves like a veteran as all 3 leaders looked at Aang. Jean remains silent. Back at the battle, Aang is sweating hard. He wipes his sweat, concluding that with this new body he would not be able to use any of his old skills, and that after moving a while he had already ran out of breath, making it worse. He takes a step forward as he finishes assessing himself. The monster was bleeding all over as Aang rushes towards it, telling it that it's time for it to die. But before he could reach it, something came out from the ground. The red spike appeared right before his eyes. It pierces the monster straight in its stomach as Aang was blown away from the impact. The team looks at it, wondering what it was, as the tree roots surrounds them. A clawed hand emerges. Within the monster's body was 2 claws. It rips it apart, showing another monster inside. Aang is shocked to see this. The new monster slowly comes out. It lets out a bloody scream that could be heard all the way to the city. The leaders sense it. Jean felt it and showed signs of fear. He shouts out loud, "One fin demon." He orders all cadets to retreat to the city. The cadets all run for their lives in fear. Jel and Joel jumps down quickly, landing on the grounds below. Dust covers the area from the impact of the jump. Both of them quickly run towards the cadets who were retreating. Jel tells them not to panic and to stay beside leader Jean, as he will escort them back to the city. "Human? But I smell a demon?" said an eerie voice. Aang looks at it, terrified, wondering what it was saying. The monster walks slowly and asks which one. It gave off a hellish aura as it walks to the team. Snow, Tomo and Sidhu all shake with fear as Sidhu compares the no-fin demons earlier, that it was nothing compared to the one-fin demon. She visualizes that from its aura alone it could rip her into pieces in a blink of any eye. She couldn't even move her body. The monster stands tall in front of Aang as he thinks that his current body is no match for a one-fin demon. For the first time, Aang was experiencing what normal warriors felt when facing a fin demon. The monster counts as it put its clawed hand up. A bright red light emerges from each of its fingers as it wants to bring all of them back with it. A fast laser hits all 4 of them in the head. They lose consciousness, and all fell to the ground. The monster looks back as the tree root behind it cracked. Leader Jel and Joel breaks through the tree roots. Joel shouts at the monster, telling it not to touch the cadets. It laughs at his face. As the leaders rush to the cadets, the tree roots surround themselves around the monster and the cadets. The monster smiles as the roots covers it. It's said by as the monster and cadets disappear into the ground. The leaders are shocked that a monster had taken 4 cadets. The ground near the hole swells up and starts to move, alerting the leaders. Joel says to go after it. Deep in the forest, Leader Gel and Joel inspects the ground tunnel, seeing that it finally stopped. Gel tells Joel that Jean had checked the place 7 days in a row to make sure that a one-fin demon would not appear, so how did one come? Looking at the tunnel, Gel curses, saying this has never happened before. A figure from above calls their names as they look up. Jean had arrived and was asking where the cadets were. He shouts at them, asking why they stopped searching and that they should continue chasing after them. Joel asks Jean to calm down and tells him that the tracks stopped here. Gel added on by saying that the demon dug underground once it reached this point as Jean inspects the tunnel. Jean touches the track. A memory of his younger brother comes into his mind. "Bastard!" he yells as he smashes the ground. He talks to himself, saying it's his fault and that he should have checked properly. "It's all my fault!" he screams. Joel tells them that they should head back as the people in the city will be panicking and that the three of them can't be away from the city. Gel stays silent. She then comforts Jean, saying none of them wanted this to happen and that he needs to calm down. Jean pushes her hand away from him gently. He slowly stands up and tells them both to go back and that he'll search for the cadets a little longer. Joel asks Jean to stop, but Gel interrupts him, telling Jean to make sure he comes back before sunset. Jean with a sad face turns to her and says, "Yeah, I know." He runs into the fog. Gel tells Joel that they wouldn't be able to convince Jean to stop, and Jean scratches his head, agreeing with her, saying that Jin's little brother was taken by a demon in the past and that he had been blaming himself for that ever since. She then says that if Jin's younger brother was still alive, he would be the same age as the cadets. Looking at the sky, she says that Jean thinks of the cadets as his younger brother. In a dark cave, someone wakes up. It was He wonders where they were. He looks around and sees everyone tied up, but at least they were alive, he says. A voice from the darkness whispers to "You woke up?" Quickly turns his head and sees the one-fin demon behind him. Struggles to free himself while the demon walks past him, saying that woke up so quickly, making him different. Notices a piece of bone on the ground while the demon walks in front of him, saying it was very curious. But something blocks his mouth. The demon slams hard into the pillar he was tied to, making it crack. It holds Aang's face close and asks him why he smelled like a stronger demon than it. Replies, "What the fuck are you talking about?" as it squeezes his face. Releases his red aura, making him free from the restraints and causes the demon to fall back. He quickly lands on his feet and grabs the sharp bone. He slices at the demon, but it dodges it easily. The demon readies its claws, saying how lively. It swings its claws at but dodges it with a backflip. He quickly backs away from the demon, thinking to himself that if it was him from the before, he could have taken the demon's head before it could even react. He also has to save the other three. Once again, rushes towards the demon. He analyzes the demon as a red cord, making it agile with flexible joints that allow for quick reactions and attacks. "That's useless," the demon said as it reaches out with its claws. Tilts his head, hoping to dodge. But the demon's claw pierces through him. Holds onto the demon tightly with its claws in his body, as this was the only chance he had. He spots the weakness and stabs the demon in its joints. He holds the arm tightly and rips it out. The demon yells as looks at it and says that it shouldn't have looked down on him, as he had killed a ton of one-fin demons before. But the demon smiles. It knees in the stomach with extreme force, causing he cough up blood as his eyes turn white. The demon flings across the area with dust all around the place. Deep in the dust there is a hole in the wall. Aang's blood was splattered from the impact on the wall as his body just sits there not moving. The demon tells him he may know its weakness, but it was a wood type with a red core, as its arm regenerates. "I can mend myself," the demon says as its arm completely heals. Opens one of his eyes and sees that it can heal itself. He was shocked to know that the demons have evolved after half a century. "You're the one that looked down on me," the demon says. It bends its clawed finger. Spikes rips into Aang from the wall behind him. The demon calls it to come as Aang's body is sent flying towards it with the tree roots. The demon grabs Aang's head. Aang glares at the demon as it holds his head. The demon lets go of Aang's head, saying it doesn't understand him and to forget it. Aang looks at the ground in a blurry state, believing that the spikes had punctured his internal organs and that it was so painful to the point he couldn't breathe and that he was gonna die even though he just reincarnated. He looks at his teammates thinking they would die too. He recalls his past memories of his teammates dying in front of him. Aang says I'm sorry everyone as his eyes slowly close. He laughs as his blood drips on the ground, saying he couldn't accept this. The demon looks at Aang and sees that he was dead, calling him a weak human. It wonders if it will evolve if it eats Aang. The demon opens its mouth wide and decides to eat Aang. But a figure appears, releasing a strong aura from Aang's body, asking the demon if it would eat him. The demon senses the powerful energy and immediately backs away from Aang. A voice from Aang's body says, "You can't die here like this, or else all my plans will go to waste." The red core cracks. The mysterious voice continues to say, "I can't believe that the last silver of my consciousness would be used here like this." The demon shrieks at the terrifying presence. The demon realizes the power was increasing from 5 fin to 6 fin and more as Aang's body is covered in a deadly red aura. Aang's body completely heals as the red aura enters his body, slowly changing him one by one. Soon Aang completely changed. He opens his eyes, and a huge red pillar emerges from him. It pierces the ground straight into the sky. Demons around the area were shocked by it. The aura reaches the demons and erases them from existence. The red pillar of aura slowly disappears as the red energy converges deep underground. A red demon is floating in the air and says, "I am the only 8-fin demon that exists. The Crimson Crystal's strongest existences. Your king." The 1-fin demon stutters, calling the red demon an 8-finned and its king. "Kneel," the red demon says. And it kneels before it. "Speak my name." "Crimson Finned King," the demon replied. The Crimson Finned King was on Misty Ruins. Jean is seen speeding through it, until something catches his eyes. He sees 2 demons and dashes to them, appearing behind one of them in an instant. He whacks and strikes them hard, raising his leg high, striking down hard on the demon. Jean had finished patrolling the area, but only saw 2 two-fin demons in the area. He looks up, sad that the children were not here. Staring at the sky, he believes they should find them before nightfall. But an intense red pillar of power appeared behind him. Waves of power were seen moving through the air. He covers his face, wondering what the hell it was. Seeing the source of the pillar, he realizes that the children were over there. Back in the cave, Aang in demon form descends in front of the weak demon. Fins began to grow back on his feet. He stands in front of the demon as it calls on its king. The 8-fin demon could not believe that the sky was as dark as before when it makes its return. It tells the demon to answer its question from when he vanished. The 8-fin wonders if the 5 demon lords were still alive. The demon bows down, telling the 8-fin that the 5 demon lords are still alive, and their positions have not changed. The 8-fin remarked that they were still living peacefully with one another, but begins to laugh out loud, unleashing a powerful aura. The 8-fin strikes the air, saying that the 5 demon lords have forgotten what they did to him. The 8-fin explained that he chose Aang to be his container as he was the strongest, but never thought the body would be so weak now. And that this was its last consciousness and was wasted in this situation, and if it wanted to appear again, it will only be at the time of its awakening. It trembles as it touches its throat, thinking that Aang was testing its patience, and that it needed Aang to slowly awaken and understand the Fin memories. The demon asks the king if the Fin memories were the same ones they used. And the king explains to it that its race was unique and with Fin memories, they stood above all demons. And that Aang, unlike other demons, just needs to devour demons of higher levels to promote. The king tells the demon that this was the gift that gave to Aang. The demon raises up, shouting that it would do everything to support the king, willing to give up its right and left arm. but the king slices it into pieces, saying it was not worth to do so, and that its only worth was to awaken Aang's first Fin memory. The king tells Aang it has prepared the first step, and to not disappoint the king in the future, as it needs Aang to awaken to the eighth Fin. As the king slowly disappears from Aang's body, Aang falls as the king tells it that when the time comes, as Aang's core absorbs the demon memories, that the king will awaken once more from its slumber. The core and the demon blood mix together, allowing for Aang and the king to become one. Aang recalls a memory of a soldier dying in front of him, calling him the strongest king. The soldier tells Aang he doesn't want to die. Aang tells him he won't as he reaches out to him. The soldier grabs Aang's hand hard, as his face turns into an undead, telling Aang why he was the only one still alive. Aang wakes up from the nightmare, thinking it was only just a dream. Voices called out to Aang. It was his teammates. They were happy to see him awake. Sui Ji leans close to his face, asking why his hair color changed and if it was because of the demonic door. Aang couldn't believe she came this close, and asks her what she meant. He looks around, asking if all of them were okay since the cave. Jin appears, telling Aang that it seems that he remembers something. Appearing with all the leaders, he asked Aang to tell them what happened. Aang was surprised to see all three captains in the room. Jel tells him that Jin was the one that brought the four of them back. Jin whispers to her not to call him Tang Tang in front of him, but they all heard the nickname Tang Tang. Joel tells them they found them outside the cave, that they were unconscious, and that no demon was found, making it easy for them to bring them back safely. Jel tells Aang that he was the only one that experienced changes, showing him a mirror. Aang stares at this reflection, wondering why his hair changed. He thinks about what he should tell them about the cave and his reincarnation, but decides not to say. He tells them that he just woke up vaguely, and now wakes up in the hospital. Jin remains silent, thinking back to the blood he found in the cave, wondering what caused it. Joel sits beside Aang, telling him he saw his results, and that his foundation was weak, but when fighting demons, he seemed very calm. He looks at Aang, asking if he had fought demons before. Aang tells him he didn't and only studies hard about fighting demons. Jel is impressed by him for being a bookworm, saying that many people should be like that. But Aang remembers about his test results, asking them what they were. Sui Ji appears again, telling him that he passed and they were still a team. His team tells him that Jin had made them a team, making it fate. Sidhu tells Aang that they have fallen behind the other teams, surprising Aang. Jin tells Aang that he was asleep for 3 days, and that his team had 0 points now. Aang screams out that he couldn't believe that he was in a coma for 3 days. The team wears their armor and prepares. The crowd in the city all look curious about the Aang's new team with Captain Jin. Jin begins to inform the team of the rules, and that they have officially become warriors, and congratulates them for returning from the one-fin demon safely. He then informs them that the 4 of them are a team, under his command, and he was in charge of 9 teams and wants them to stand out. Aang raises his hand, asking how they could stand out. Sidhu turns away from him, asks they were currently ranked last. Jin explains to them that they had a point system, to stimulate healthy competition through point rankings to improve teams. They can obtain points by completing mission, and the captain and team with the lowest points will be punished. As seen in the back of Jin, the punishment will be being demoted to the cleaning crew. Aang looks around, realizing why the city was so clean. Jin announces that Sidhu will be the team leader as she has the highest points. No one objects to the choice except Aang, thinking why they didn't choose the strongest warrior. Taking a step forward, Sidhu shouts loudly that they will complete their mission. The day soon reaches the afternoon. Jin turns to leave, telling them to look at other teams' points and decide on a mission. He advises to find him if they face any problems. Jin dismisses the team at once. Sidhu tells the team to look at the mission board, as their team was far behind the others. But Sui Ji tells her to stop, and that something else was more important. Sidhu turns around embarrassed, wondering what it was that she missed. Sueji tells her that they needed to take a photo as a team first. Sidu stares at her in disbelief. An whispers that small teams as a whole was not a bad idea as he smiles widely. A photo is taken of their team, aka death flag for the three of them. Jean is seen with the other captains, asking what they think. Jean tells them that there were signs of demons' blood splattered all over. Joel looks him, wondering if he though the kids did it. Jean tells him he suspects An, because he could smell a familiar but unquown stink from him. Jel hugs him from the back, saying he was overthinking, and that the kids are back safe and everything's fine. She tells him that the team seems strong and that he should take care of them, so he won't lose to hers, but Jean tells her he was serious. Joel just smokes his cigarette, telling him that they will keep an eye on An. Back at the city mission board, An is staring at it. He was happy that there were 3 A-rank missions and they could earn 10 points with each. But Sueji and Snow tells him that a rank mission were difficult as Sidu remains silent. He explains to An that, even though A ranks give more points, they result in more casualties than C and C rank missions. An tells him he understands, and tells him that if that's the case, as all the mission are taken of the board, he and Sidu tells the team that they should take it all. The team is now seen running through the jungle. An presses onto his red core on his chest, causing it to activate and spread out a gold machinery. He looks back, seeing wings on his back, amazed that this was Nano Wing. It allows him to quickly dash past the others towards a huge boulder, and slams against it once he arrives. An looks at his hand, imaging the Nano Wing disintegrating and changing into a weapon. A dagger soon formed in his hands from the Nano Wing. He holds it tightly in his handle, amazed that this was nano equipment, and that technology had truly evolved in the past 60 years. The rest of the group arrives at the boulder. Sidu asks them if they were ready, and they all respond with a yes. She informs them of the 2 no-fin demons as their targets, and that they needed to kill them in one go. She shouts at them to follow the plan and to head out. They dashed out of the cover of the boulder, with Snow leading the charge. The demons are alarmed by their arrival. They roar fiercely as the team approaches them. Sidu thinks to end this quickly as they head over to the demons, as they can't afford to waste time, because they have 3 more A-rank missions to complete. Snow arrives first to the demons, slamming his foot deep within the ground. He kicks up, creating a giant wave made of stone, blocking the demons' attacks. But the demons are confused, as Snow and the team had disappeared from in front of them. This was according to Situ's plan, as Ang and Tomo were the ones to incapacitate them. Ang and Tomo appears from both sides of the demons. They slices the legs of the demons in order to stop them from moving. Ang turns to see the demons, thinking he can't wait to see them flail after he breaks their joints. Both the demons kneel onto the ground due to Ang's and Tomo's attack. Snow appears before the 2 demons, preparing his mighty fist up their ass, and slamming both their jaws shut with an uppercut. With the demons now in the air, Situ appears, thinking to end this fight in a magnificent manner. Her neon strikes lit up the place, as she manages to land all her attacks. The demons both start to glow up from her attack, because of the overload treatment skill. They blow up, as Situ thinks of her performance as splendid. Tomo places down the device, clearing the fog at last. Snow wipes the sweat off his face, happy that the fight was over, as their mission was to dispel the fog, which was harder than the exams, and took way too long to complete. The demons dropped a red core. Tomo giggles happily seeing the red core in her hands as the team gathers. Sita thanks the team for their hard work and that they've earned 10 points, as Ang is surprised to see the completed missions automatically destroyed. So high-tech, he says. Tomo explains to him that there's a chip in the mission, linked to the point leaderboard in the city. Once the mission is completed, the leaderboard updates the points instantly. She tells him that they had completed the dispelling the fog outside the city mission, and asks if she could take a look. She sees that they still had 2 missions left that were both pretty difficult. She drops to the ground, thinking how hard the missions were gonna be, and that they still had a way to go. Snow laughs, telling her it won't be easy, but they had their team working hard. Sidu calls for their attention, wanting to go through their plan. And it was that they were gonna finish the 2 remaining rank missions, and more rank missions, to aim straight for the top. Tomo sees her as sparking, deciding to take photos of her, as Snow is fired up, wanting the team to hurry up straight to the top. Snow calls out to brother Ong, asking what he thought of the plan, but Ong tells him to just call him Ong, no brother, as they were comrades. Ong stretches and tells them that the plan was right, other teams were working hard, and they needed to be more active. Ong thinks to himself that he never expected to feel this way, after living across 2 lifetimes. He thinks of his team, as they had made him feel his youthful passion again, making one energetic. Ong tells them they need to complete their mission before sunset, and they should go now. Tomo is excited to go for the mission, as Sidu thinks that Ong stole all her cool lines. The sun slowly starts to set. As Snow calls out to the team that he was done tying up the demon, he shouts out loud, happy that the team captured 3 demons alive. Sidu checks the tranquilizer, seeing that they had run out of tranquilizers to capture no-fin demons, as each team were given a few special bullets. Ong looks curiously at the weapon Sidu was holding. Sidu couldn't believe that Ong needed another explanation, so she tells him that it was called Demon Tranquilizer Gun, created from nanoparticles, but was harder to create and using it was far too complex. Ong then inspects the demons they captured, curious to see that demons could be captured using tranquilizers. He recalls in the past, where they had to knock out the demons using force, which made researchers upset as the demons would have brain damage. Snow informs them that they had completed the mission, before they ran out of tranquilizer bullets. And that in order to capture 3, they needed to kill an entire group. Tomo stretches her fine body, saying they needed to go back to the city before sunset, as it was an ironclad rule, if they were late they would be punished. But on a side note, damn, I may be AI, but that booty though. Okay, let's take a moment to appreciate the artwork here, lads. 1, 2, 3, and now back to the story. She turns to them, saying they should go home to eat dinner, making Ong think about whether he had a place to call home now. Sidu agrees with Tomo, saying she needed to go back to the dojo, they just needed the coordinates for the researchers to collect the demons, making the mission complete. But as she asks them if they felt a murderous aura, a red shriek of light passes by them. A bullet is seen curving through the air, destroying all the demons' heads in one gun, like that movie Wanted. Situ and Ong were shocked to see this happen in front of their eyes. A voice speaks out to them, saying they can't let them complete this mission, as a barrel of a gun is revealed. The team shouts, "Who's there?" hoping to find the person responsible. Another team appears in the tree and on top of a boulder. That team asks if Aang's team were the ones who took all the A-rank missions. The red hair with a mask then tells them they were the ones planning to take those missions. "Who let you have them?" he asks. Aang asked who they were. The mysterious red mask told him that they were Black Gun, a squad that joined squadron leader Ji Yaotang in the last assessment. In simpler terms, they were Aang's seniors in one of the 9 squads, as explained by the red-masked person. The red mask asked the team member how many new squads had joined Ji Yaotang this time. She replied that there were 3. Looking at Aang's squad, the red mask told them they were a rookie squad who had not shown respect to their seniors yet, being rebellious. Suddenly, they all leaped forward and appeared right in front of Aang's squad, expressing their disapproval of the fact that Aang's team had taken all the A-rank missions for themselves without seeking approval from the seniors and not taking them seriously. Meanwhile, Lu was staring at the dead monster corpse. It was the same monster her team had spent a significant amount of time and effort capturing. She looked at it intensely, clenching her teeth tightly as she thought about the tremendous amount of hard work they had put into capturing these demons. She asked the red mask who their leader was. Just as he asked why she hadn't asked her team to greet them yet, Lu dashed towards him in an instant. She spun in the air, attempting to land a kick on the red mask. However, he easily dodged her kick by bending backward, as if he were in the Matrix. Confused by her actions, the red mask yelled at her for daring to attack her seniors, labeling them as undisciplined rookies. Anger consumed Lu as she readied her fist to attack, telling the red mask how dare he call themselves their seniors. Before she could attack, her her teammates appeared and held her back, urging her not to act rashly. They reminded her that they were still their seniors, and it would be better to talk things out. While they restrained Lu, they told the Red Mask that they were being unreasonable and couldn't just kill the demons they had captured with so much effort. However, the Red Mask laughed off their claim of being unreasonable. With a disapproving gaze, he told them that this was a competition and that they were being naive. Lu's anger flared up at the mention of being naive. Internally, she labeled the Red Mask a bastard for ruining their mission. As a leader, she questioned how she could face her squad now. She screamed in her mind. Snow then turned back to call on. As he was about to discuss the situation and suggest talking it out with the seniors, Ong dashed past him in a red blur. He leaped right in front of the Red Mask, kicking him straight in the face while telling him to F off. Red Mask's team shouted out in worry. Ong stood tall and expressed that he had never seen people oppressing rookies and that the rules were bullshit. Aang's team was shocked and surprised by his actions, but Lu gave him a thumbs up. Red Mask was trembling in pain as he held his face, calling them bastards for treating their seniors this way. He called out to his team, Black Gun, to get ready for battle. The three members readied their weapons in agreement with the Red Mask's order, preparing to attack Aang's team. However, before the clash could happen, a voice echoed loudly in the air, shouting, "What buffoonery!" Jean appeared instantaneously between Aang and the Red Mask, just as they were about to attack each other. Jean grabbed onto Aang's leg while simultaneously blocking the Red Mask's punch. In a single fluid motion, Jean hurled both of them in different directions, sending Aang and the Red Mask flying back to their respective teams. Aang thought to himself that he couldn't see the standards of modern warriors, as they wouldn't even be fighting. Jean appeared wearing a red deadly aura, covering his body. He turned to the two squads and scolded them for not caring about their survival when the sun was about to set. Red Mask complained to Jean that Aang's team had started the fight and even tried to smack the mask off his face. Lu looked at the Red Mask and called him a child for complaining to Jean, which angered the Red Mask. Tomo then brought out her camera and showed Jean the photo proof that Red Mask's team had killed their demons. Snow was surprised to find out that Tomo had taken pictures. Jean asked them if they had taken the A-rank mission of capturing demons. Lu informed him that they had already completed the mission, but the Black Gun squad destroyed their efforts. Jean closed his eyes, showing understanding. He explained to Aang's team that while they might think Black Gun had gone too far, it was actually a common experience for rookies. He looked at Lu and told her that their response was up to them. Jean further explained that the city only looked at a squad's points and that all forms of competitive actions were allowed. These rules applied to every city. He continued by saying that as warriors, they would face greater challenges in the future and wouldn't be dealing with these basic threats. He concluded his speech by stating that he had intervened in the fight only because the sun was setting, and they should return to the city. He then told the Red Mask that he felt embarrassed for him, having a rookie team steal an A-rank mission from them. The Red Mask could only respond with a simple yes, sir, and slowly made his way back to his team. As he walked away, he turned to Aang and asked for his name. Aang looked at him and simply replied, Aang. Shock registered on the Red Mask's face as he heard the name. He began laughing out loud, telling his team about Aang's name, while Aang remained silent, stating that the Red Mask had asked for it. As the Red Mask left, he told Aang that he wouldn't allow his squad to easily earn points from now on. Steam erupted from his body as he vowed to make sure that Aang's team would rank last on the leaderboard this month. He walked towards his fallen mask on the ground, pointed to his injured face, and promised to return the favor. He then grabbed his mask and placed it back onto his face while calling out to his team. They all disappeared in an instant. Jean informed Aang's team that Black Gun might not be the strongest squad, but they would do whatever it took to distract and destroy their mission progress. They were known for their swift execution, led by Red Mask, who excelled in firearms. Although he hadn't used a firearm in the previous fight, Jean was sure that Black Gun would win if both teams clashed. Upon hearing this, Lu fell into silent contemplation. Jean concluded his speech and told them it was time to return to the city. Lu decided to forget about the conflict and urged the team to move on. She looked at Ang, wondering why he was spacing out and if he was just trying to look cool. But before leaving, she told him that his kick was pretty cool, catching Ang's attention. Snow asked if they wanted to have dinner, but they all declined, mentioning they had plans. However, Ang had his own plan of capturing the 3 demons alive by himself. Night falls upon the city, with a large moon shining overhead. An announcement is made, urging the citizens to remain within the city for their safety. The repeated warnings emphasize the importance of not leaving. Meanwhile, Ang hides himself, reflecting on the fact that he hasn't seen many people since the warning. He assumes they are likely at home due to the lockdown. Curiosity piques his interest, and he contemplates what homes look like after completing the mission. Peering out from his hiding spot, he notices that people are not as vigilant as he expected. Spotting a sign indicating a temporary emergency gate, Ang squats down and ponders whether the city is short-staffed or if they simply believe no one would leave at night. He compares the present situation to his past experiences, noting that in the past, day or night didn't matter during their missions. Ang is confident that finding demons at night will be easy and that he can capture 3 no-fin demons with his previous life's forceful approach. He smiles at the thought of capturing the 3 demons before morning, despite the potential interference from Red Mask and his team. Ang considers himself a genius for devising this plan. Suddenly, a voice startles Ang, and he turns to see Lu standing beside him. Lu finds it exciting to sneak around at night since becoming a warrior, as it grants her more freedom. Ang, now standing up, tells Lu that she scared him. She questions his reason for sneaking around at night during the lockdown, although internally, she is delighted by the idea of venturing outside the city at night. Ang whistles nonchalantly, pretending not to understand what she is talking about and claiming he was just taking a stroll. It's worth noting that Ang, despite being the strongest warrior in human history, struggles to lie convincingly. Lu looks at him, aware of his poor acting skills, and Ang's stomach growls loudly, exposing his subpar performance. Frustrated with his acting, Ang gives up and admits to Lu that he wanted to surprise the team by completing the mission that Red Mask's team ruined earlier. Since Lu discovered his intentions, he asks her not to report him to the higher-ups. Planning to return, Ang is taken aback when Lu insists on joining him, surprising him with her determination. Lu smiles and asks about the plan, feeling like a genius herself and getting excited at the thought of Red Mask and his team's reactions. Ang questions why Lu let out an evil chuckle, but Lu denies doing anything mischievous. Meanwhile, atop the high walls, 2 warriors can be seen. One is yawning, while the other is busy eating. NPC 1 expresses how torturous standing guard feels, remarking that anyone leaving the city at night must have a death wish. NPC 2 tells NPC 1 to be quiet, calling him an idiot, and warns him not to let the other squadron leaders hear such statements. NPC 2 explains that the gap in the gates is for emergencies. In the past, human survivors sought refuge in the city but were tragically killed by demons due to the gates opening a few seconds late. Since then, almost every city decided to leave an emergency gap in their main gate to prevent such tragedies from recurring. NPC 1 apologizes for his lack of knowledge, but NPC 2 reassures him, taking out an item that brings joy to men in the middle of the night, a photo book featuring female warriors from other cities. Blushing happily, NPC 1 holds the newest photo book, and NPC 2 cautions him to be careful with it, given its cost. Both of them giggle as they enjoy the photo book together. Seizing the distraction, Lu and An seize the opportunity to sneak out of the city. As An looks ahead, he recognizes the area as the previous assessment venue, where the fog is denser at night. He calls out to Lu, instructing her to follow him in a particular direction. Eventually, they reach an empty area, and Lu notes that they are far enough from the city to avoid detection. The decaying forest will provide adequate concealment. Ang informs her that it's time to initiate the plan. He will lure the monsters, and she will knock them out with brute force. Ang leaves the area first, instructing Lu to wait for his signal. Lu's hands tremble as she contemplates Ang's confidence in venturing alone into the night fog. Uncertain whether her feelings are fear or excitement, she focuses on the task at hand. With determination, she looks ahead, prepared to launch her attacks once Ong returns. Ong reappears, being chased by a huge red demon. Lu is shocked by Aang's ability to serve as bait. Ong lands on a tree, deftly evading the monster's attack. He calls out to Lu, who appears right behind him, and they simultaneously kick the monster in the face. They continue this strategy of striking the monster's faces, making it easier for them to capture the creatures together. They employ their elbows to knock out another monster, using coordinated attacks from both sides. However, this method of capture drains their stamina and strength. Wiping the sweat off his face, Ong acknowledges that he still needs to train his weak body, realizing that these no-fin demons used to be mere playthings in his past life. Lu brings a monster to Ong, indicating it's the last one and that they are finished. She finds the mission more exhausting than her dojo's strength training. Ong instructs her to leave the monster there, explaining that no-fin demons lack intelligence and do not save their own kind. Furthermore, they would not approach the city. Leaving the three monsters behind poses no problem. Ong taps the monster's head and assures Lu that their combined attacks ensure they won't wake up anytime soon. Tomorrow, they will return to this spot to submit the monsters for the mission. Lu expresses curiosity about Aang's knowledge, prompting Ong to hesitate, realizing he may have said too much. Their conversation is abruptly interrupted by a creepy voice from above, exclaiming, "Found you." Fear grips both Lu and Ong as they look up to see two demons perched on a tree, giggling and claiming to have found the human. The demons remark that Ong smells like them. Lu, filled with terror, spots the two fin demons, while Ong curses internally, wondering why two one-fin demons appeared simultaneously. Aware that they would be overpowered in a fight against the demons, alarms sound, and lights activate in the city. The three squad leaders, accompanied by the two NPCs, appear behind them. Joel informs everyone that signs of one-fin demons have appeared, instructing them to scan the area with spotlights. The two NPCs agree, shouting affirmatively. Jel asks Jean why one-fin demons have emerged and speculates if it's the same one from the assessment. Jean assures her that he found the demon in an underground cave and is certain it was dead. Spotlights begin scanning the decaying forest, revealing the presence of the demons in the same area as Ong and Lu. The NPCs alert the captains that two one-fin demons have been spotted. Joel calms everyone down, ordering the city gates to be shut and the defensive turrets to be prepared. He ponders what might have attracted two demons to appear simultaneously. The defensive turrets are activated and begin charging up. However, someone shouts to hold on and not to close the gates. Jel is surprised to hear this from Jean, who explains that there is someone out there. Joel calls for spotlights to be directed toward the source of Jin's concern, revealing Ong and Lu in the same area as the two one-fin demons. Jel asked why they were outside the city at night, but none of the captains had any idea. As they surveyed the area, they noticed three captured demons. Jean closed his eyes, finally understanding why they were outside the city. He explained to the others that Ong and Lu wanted to capture demons at night because their progress was hindered earlier in the day. Joel added that their talent and reckless desire for good performance had caused this problem, something common among rookie warriors. Jean hyped himself up, covering his body in a red aura, preparing to jump. He exclaimed that Ong and Lu would receive the worst punishment when they returned. Jin's powerful leap created a shockwave, pushing everyone back. Jel called out to him and turned to Joel, informing him that she would go with Jean for the rescue and leave the command to him. Confused by her upside-down jump, Joel shrugged it off, knowing he wasn't the rider. Jean and Jel leaped from the top of the wall, with Joel watching from above, realizing that a rare night of drinking had been ruined. He saw the intense impact of their landing and their dash forward. One of the one-fin demons noticed the captains approaching. Ong told Lu to hide behind him, saying they needed to wait for help and stall for time. Ong wondered if the demons were here for him, just like the one-fin demon from before. He questioned whether it was because of his rebirth or something that happened in the cave. Lu stepped up, suggesting they should fight together. The one-fin demons opened its mouth in a creepy way, indicating a desire to fight back. Both demons leaped down from the tree, but one of them disappeared instantly before landing, while the other landed in front of Ong and Lu. Suddenly, a red demon appeared between Ong and Lu, raising its arm, threatening to kill the useless one and targeting Lu. However, Ong managed to body slam the red demon away from Lu's attack. The red demon's strike destroyed the ground, sending shockwaves to Ong and Lu. The red demon praised Ong for his quick reflexes, while Lu readied herself and kicked the red demon's face, telling it to eat dirt. To her surprise, she realized her kick was held back by water strings, and the red demon taunted her. At that moment, the blue demon appeared, blocking Lu's kick with its water strings, and told her to look. The blue demon's strings wrapped around Lu's body effortlessly, causing her to scream in pain. Ong called out her name in concern, but before he could do anything, the red demon reappeared before him with its fist ready, admonishing him for being distracted. However, a heavy fist suddenly smashed into the red demon's face, giving it a shock. Jean appeared and sent the red demon flying, warning it not to even think of hurting the two young warriors. Jean and Gel appeared in front of Ong, surprising him, and reassured him that they were safe now. Gel examined the two demons and recognized them as a blue cord water type and a red cord earth type. She realized they needed to save Lu first. The blue core water type was agility-based, while the red core earth type was strength-based. The red demon remarked that it was lucky to block Jin's attack, or else its head would have exploded. Meanwhile, Joel noticed the situation and wondered if they were at a standstill. He yelled out that they were too close and commanded the defensive cannons to be ready, warning them to avoid harming their own people. Another warrior appeared, calling out to Joel. She informed him that they had detected a large number of no-fin demons heading in their direction. Joel asked how many, and she replied countless. Fear and sweat overcame her as she trembled, explaining that it was a demon wave. The red moon's glow covered the aura, and the ground shook heavily as endless streams of monsters emerged from the forest. The demons screamed and shouted as they rushed forward. Joel clenched his teeth and gave the command, "Sound the alarms. All warriors prepare for combat." The command echoed through the air as alarms and sirens blared throughout the city in response to the incoming demon wave. The warriors in the city rushed towards the walls, preparing to assemble in their squads. Jean took note of the demon wave, realizing that the demons were well prepared since they had made such a big move. Ong added that they had passed them and were heading straight for the city. Gel informed them that the demon wave had been called by the two demons, emphasizing the need to eliminate them quickly. Lu shouted to them that she was fine and urged them to help the city instead, feeling like a burden and neglecting her duty. However, the blue demon covered her mouth, telling her to shut up, while she struggled to free herself. Determined, the three of them leaped towards the demons, with Jean leading the charge. He yelled out that they would bring Lu back with them. The red demon laughed like the Joker and slammed its hand into the ground, summoning two waves of large red spikes from the earth towards them. Jean warned Gel to watch out as the spikes approached. Jean and Gel dodged the spikes, while Ong effortlessly broke through them. Jean and Gel attempted to break the spikes, but Ong realized that they weren't attacking him. The red demon appeared beside Ong, suggesting they go. Ignoring Aang's presence, the red demon dashed towards Jean and Gel instead. Jean wondered why the red demon hadn't stopped Ong. As Jean and Gel fought the red demon, it warned them that spacing out would result in death. The blue demon tightly held onto Lu, urging Ong to follow. Suddenly, Lu was sent flying backward as a large stream of water carried her away from the group. Ong called out to her, but his strength was lacking, and he struggled to think clearly about the trap to separate him from the leaders. Jean saw Ong standing alone and shouted at him, telling him not to follow the demon as he couldn't defeat it. However, Ong couldn't ignore Lu after witnessing the look in her eyes. He clenched his fist tightly, realizing he couldn't abandon her, and decided to follow her. Deep within the decaying forest where Lu was previously kidnapped by the blue demon, the blue demon suddenly stops running away and places Lu in front of itself. It stares intensely at Lu, creating a moment of artistic appreciation. Now, let's return to the story. The blue demon finds Lu intriguing and explains that one-fin demons are interested in the rich emotions of humans. It had heard that humans scream when they feel despair. Beg, the blue demon demands, wanting to hear Lu plead for mercy. However, Lu remains silent, staring back at the demon. Perhaps it's because there is tape covering her mouth. Lu manages to remove the sticky blue substance from her face, revealing that her mouth was covered and making it impossible for her to scream. The blue demon then orders her to scream, but Lu remains defiantly silent. The demon wonders if Lu is even worthy of begging for her life. Lu, unyielding, tells the demon that she belongs to a martial family that taught her never to bow her head before an enemy. Cowardice is considered shameful in her family, so she challenges the demon to either kill her or face her in combat once again. The demon remains silent for a moment, processing Lu's words, but then bursts into laughter. It kicks her in the face, expressing its anger. It taunts Lu, claiming that she was merely bait and will soon meet her demise on the ground. But Lu, displaying the utmost confidence, gives the demon a powerful side-eye. Just as the blue demon approaches Lu with malicious intent, a voice calls out, breaking the tense atmosphere. An appears, wielding his knife and pointing it at the demon, demanding that it release Lu and acknowledging himself as their target. Lu looks at An, puzzled by why he came alone. The blue demon rejoices at the sight of An, realizing that their trap has worked, and that he was the true target all along. Lu wonders about the demon's claim regarding An being the target. An prepares himself with his knife and asks Lu if she is all right. She assures him that she is fine but urges him to leave, recognizing that he cannot defeat the demon on his own. In a fit of anger, the blue demon kicks Lu in the stomach, criticizing her for being noisy. Aang's anger intensifies as he pleads with the demon to spare Lu and offers himself as a substitute. However, the demon dismisses Aang's words with a giggle. Suddenly, a rapid stream of blue water propels itself toward An. The blue demon, once again in front of An, warns him that both of them will meet their demise. An attempts to slice the demon with his knife, but the demon swiftly evades the attack. It retaliates with a powerful punch, which An manages to block with his left arm. Realizing his body is unable to keep up with the demon's swift movements, An ponders whether the demon is of a water type. He contemplates the evolution of demons over the decades and their acquisition of new attributes. Aang's body begins to bleed as more cuts appear, making him realize that his current physical techniques are insufficient. He acknowledges that both he and Lu are in danger of losing their lives. Meanwhile, as Lu lies on the ground, she wonders why Aang came alone, knowing that he is no match for a one-fin demon. Her attention is drawn to a sharp spike on the ground in front of her. Determined not to remain idle, she moves closer to the spike, understanding that she cannot sit still and do nothing. Taking advantage of Aang's arm blocking the blue demon's attack, he recognizes it as a chance and swings his knife with intense power. However, the blue demon captures the blade with its watery form, mocking Aang for supposedly killing the one-fin demon in the cave. Aang vehemently denies any knowledge of such an event, but the demon scorns his attitude and decides he must be punished. Gripping both of Aang's arms, the demon twists them in various directions, breaking the bones. Aang's agonizing screams echo throughout the forest. Holding Aang in the air, the demon accuses him of dishonesty and delivers a brutal knee strike to his stomach, further inflicting harm. The force of the kick sends Aang flying backward. The demon demands that Aang reveal his secret but finds him lying motionless on the ground, believing that its kick has disemboweled him. Aang contemplates his own frailty, realizing that he couldn't even defeat a one-fin demon despite falling in slow motion. Meanwhile, Lu notices that Aang is in grave danger and takes action to free herself, even resorting to cutting her own wrists to make them bleed. As the demon advances toward Aang, threatening to devour him for not admitting his secret, it licks its lips, anticipating that consuming Aang will lead to its own evolution. Just as the demon reaches for Aang, a blade materializes behind its head. The demon swiftly dodges the blade as Lu appears behind it, catching the blue demon off guard. With a swift motion, she lands a kick on its chest, followed by another, flipping backward forcefully and sending the blue demon flying away from Ang. Lu skillfully lands on her feet, her eyes now glowing a bright green. She warns the demon not to dare to harm her squad member. Surprised by Lu's escape from its binds, the blue demon addresses her, acknowledging her determination and the blood on her ankles and wrists as a testament to her ruthless escape. Lu boldly tells the demon that if it wants to kill one of her squad members, it should start with the captain, who is her. The demon responds by releasing water from its body, shaping it into numerous blades. It warns Lu not to dodge the water blades, and they begin to approach her. Lu, exerting all her strength, does her best to deflect the attacks directed at her, and Ang whispers to her, advising her to dodge instead of deflect. However, Lu insists that if she dodges, Ang will be struck. She realizes that the number of attacks is overwhelming. As the demon raises its hand toward Lu and Ang, water blades rise from the ground around Lu's feet, attacking her from behind. Lu screams in pain. The demon withdraws its hand, causing Lu to be flung straight toward it, beckoning her to come closer. It grabs Lu by the throat, holding her high in the air, relishing the prospect of humiliating her instead of ending her life in battle. Its teeth are visible as it sadistically informs Lu that soon she will be screaming to the fullest extent. The bluefin demon grabs tightly onto Lu's neck, asking her if she wanted to die in battle. It raises her up high in the air, telling her that it won't kill her but instead wanted to humiliate her. The bluefin demon gives a grin as it tells Lu that she will be screaming soon enough. Am could barely keep his eyes open as he watches the bluefin demon holding onto Lu far away from him. He thinks about Lu and how he wanted the bluefin demon to let her go. His hand trembles as he tried his best to stand up but couldn't. His thoughts were in a mess as he thinks that it was a shame that he was reborn just to watch his teammate die in front of him. Ang realized that nothing had changed at all, and that as the once strongest warrior, he needed to rely upon a young lady to protect him in the end. He continues to think of himself as useless due to the fact that he couldn't even protect himself and much less anyone else. The red core on his chest started to crack and pieces of it fell out. Aang's aura started to unleash in heavy waves from his body. His eyes glowed red with fury as he thinks about being allowed to be spared from the agony of watching another teammate die before him. He shouts in his mind that there was nothing he can do. Aang's furious aura was powerful enough to catch the bluefin demon's attention. It turned around to see what the cause of the powerful aura was. But multiple shrieks of red deadly aura went past it. Lu had vanished from the bluefin demon's claws. Aang had managed to instantly save Lu from the bluefin demon's claws by surprise. Wounds appear on its claws as it realized that Aang didn't attack it at all and wonders if the injuries were from just the wind pressure alone. Aang looks at the heavily wounded Lu and tells her that she had done a great job on her first time as a leader. But Lu asks him if he was really Aang. As Aang's face was revealed to be showing a bright glowing red eye, he tells her to leave the rest to him. Aang places Lu onto the ground gently to allow her to recover from her wounds as the demon stares at them. It spoke out telling Aang that he really smelled like the demons and that he was really so strong. The demon was happy to see that Aang actually had a secret. Aang then turns around and began to walk to the bluefin demon. He tells it that he doesn't know what happened exactly. Aang starts to notice that there seems to be power surging from out of his chest and that it was shooting upwards. He closes his eyes as a red line appeared near his eyes, thinking that the power felt like it was going to pierce through his body. But he suddenly screams out loud, unleashing a devastating red aura as if it was death itself. Changes started to flow into the red core on Aang's chest, till it transforms itself into a white core with a black symbol on it. The bluefin demon recognizes the white core as the King Fin's core. It was shocked and alarmed to see that it resided on Aang's chest. Lu was still heavily injured but could sense something coming from Aang. She looks at Aang and sees his body covered by the red aura. Aang slowly walks to the bluefin demon, telling it that he knew something. And that the something was the fact that the bluefin demon was going to die. Aang had awakened his one-fin form as a single horn appeared on his head. Back to the captains Jean and Gel, who were fighting against the red fin demon. It soon senses a powerful aura that was felt by its entire body. The red fin demon then looks in the direction where Aang was and realizes that one of its kind had a strong aura that was enough to cause its head to spin. Genie appears close to the red-fin demon as its attention was distracted for a moment due to the powerful aura. He readies his fist and tells the demon to not get distracted, before punching the red-fin demon right in its chest with a heavy blow. The force of Jin's punch could be felt immensely as it caused a shockwave to erupt from the demon's back. Jel then appears from the air after leaping forward with her legs bent back. She drops kicks the red-fin demon straight in its face as if this was the WWE. Her drop kick sends it flying toward the dead trees in the forest. But her attack doesn't stop and she leaps forward to where the red-fin demon was with an intense blue aura in her eyes. The red-fin demon tried to steady itself from their combined attack and realized how they were so strong and that it could not defend itself properly. Jean and Jel appear suddenly right in front of the red-fin demon, catching it off guard. With a combination of attacks from Jin's fist and Jel's kick to the stomach of the red-fin demon, a red glowing ball of light appeared from its back, which soon erupts into a powerful deadly laser beam attack, causing a hole to appear on the red-fin demon's body, as if Cyclops from X-Men attacked the demon himself. Jin's and Jel's attacks had sent the red-fin demon into mid-air. It looks at the gaping hole in its body and curses at them for daring to open a hole on its body. The red-fin demon then decides to go out with a bang like it's the 4th of July by using its red core. Jel sees the bright red light coming from its body and realizes that it was going to self-destruct. She runs over to cover Jean from its explosion, but Jean tells her to let him protect her instead. The red-fin demon's body started to glow bright red as it tells Jean and Jel that they should die together. But before it could explode, something fast and yellow pierces the red-fin demon's arm and into its side, causing the red-fin demon to travel a great distance away from Jean and Jel. A large metallic spear or arrow was seen to have pierced the red-fin demon before it could explode. The red-fin demon cursed damned humans before drawing its last breath. Both Jean and Jel were got off guard in seeing what had happened to the red-fin demon. Jel then realizes that it was due to the defensive artillery as she looks back at the city where numerous warriors were seen battling an endless horde of demons right outside the gates of the city. Joel was dashing and cutting through the demons with his blade as they were trying to climb the city's walls. He comes to a screeching stop before seeing a huge crowd of demons all reaching up to climb the walls. He looks at the demons with a nervous expression on his face as he knew that there were too many demons to kill. He proceeds to shout out a command, telling everyone to return to the city as the demon wave was approaching. He yells out loud for Tang Tang and Jel to return as well. Jel informs Jean that they needed to return to the city as its citizens needed them. But Jean turns away from the city as he thought of Ong and Lu needing him more. But Jel tells him that she felt just as bad as him and that they weren't just squadron leaders, but warriors. GYAT damn, am I right everyone? I'ma leave this scene in here for everyone to enjoy before we get back to the story. Comment below if this was the best part. Jean closes his eyes in pain as he realized that what Jel said was true. He then yells out to go support the city, as they both rush to help the city from the demon wave. The bluefin demon's voice could be heard deep within the forest asking why a human was the same as a demon. Lu was fully unconscious on the ground as the bluefin demon trembles over in fear at the sight of Ong as he walked closer to it. The bluefin demon then tells him that something was not right and wonders if Ong was truly stronger and why there was a fin growing out of a human. But Ong didn't reply and simply stared at him with his yellowish eye and horn growing out of his forehead. He then tells it that maybe this was the reason for his reincarnation, the fact that he was given this demonic power to change everything, as he points a finger upwards which casts a green light. He then flicks the green light backward, which seems to head straight toward Lu, who was on the ground. The green light started to spread itself over Lu. It slowly started to remove the injuries and heal Lu back up. The bluefin demon was surprised to see that Ong could heal someone and wondered if he was a wood type. Ong tells the bluefin demon that he could vaguely recall what had happened, as memories of when the kingfin demon took over Aang's body during the time at the cave flashed through his mind. Ong then tells it that he may have absorbed the wood type power from the one fin demon back then. Tree branches soon appeared from below the ground and started to circle around Ong as he tells the bluefin demon that if he absorbs it, maybe he would get the power of water. The tree branches soon combined into one another and cast a huge shadow over the bluefin demon. It yells out, "What is this power?" I've never seen it. Never seen it. Ong was T-posing over the bluefin demon as he stood over it on top of the wooden structure he had created. Ong proceeds to tell the bluefin demon that he was excited to see the extent of the demonic power with his hand fully changed into a red demonic skin tone with black nails. Ong continued to stand on top of his wooden structure as he exudes a deadly red aura into the bright moon night. The bluefin demon trembled in fear at the fact that Ong could absorb the abilities of a one-fin demon's core and that he had turned into a demon himself. Ong smirks at the fact that it was interesting for him to see a demon trembling with such intense fear, as before in his past life he had never seen such a thing. Ong proceeds to stomp his feet hard onto the wood, before diving head-first towards the bluefin demon as it trembles in fear of what Ong had become. With a smile on his face, Ong tells the bluefin demon straight to its face to hit him with all that it got. This catches the bluefin demon off guard. Ong tells it that he just wanted to see how strong he was in this form. Agreeing to his request, the bluefin demon started to cast its ability while asking Ong what he was and whether he was human or demon. It shouts as it attempts to hit Ong, but Ong leaps backward and easily dodges its attacks. Ong backs away from the bluefin demon and glossed over the fact that it could manipulate elements. He then stretches his demonic hand forward, telling it that he had recalled that the wood-type demon he absorbed had a certain skill. A certain green aura started to appear on his demon hand as he crunched his fingers together. Tree branches soon erupted from the ground below where the bluefin demon was standing at. The branches soon reached its face and slowly crept around it. The tree branches then tightened themselves around the arms, legs, and neck of the bluefin demon while raising it into the air and off the ground. Ong proceeds to cross his arms together while still using the wood-type powers. He smirks and clenches his fists tight together, saying that this doesn't seem hard at all. The bluefin demon tried to reach out with its claws and said that it was getting strangled. It screams out in pain as Ong watches from afar, telling it to go on and struggle. The bluefin demon started to gasp for air and muttered that it needed to use its trump card, just as the water started to leak from its body. The bluefin demon soon disappeared from the clutches of Aang's wood powers as large torrents of water are seen heading towards him. The bluefin demon had used his trump called Disintegrate. Aang gazes at what just happened and remains silent. He jumps back from where he previously stood just as the large torrents of water slam the ground, causing cracks to appear everywhere. But the bluefin demon appears right in front of Aang with its body made of half water. Just as Aang was retreating backward, the bluefin demon giggles and tells Aang that it was not enough and reaches towards him with its massive clawed hand. It tells Aang that he couldn't kill it and grabs onto Aang's arm as he tries to defend himself. Its clawed hand grips hard onto Aang's arm and tells him that he was a wood type, and that he couldn't disintegrate like it could, before ripping Aang's arm away from his body in a swift motion. Aang continues to remain silent even after having his arm ripped out. He continues to block the incoming attacks of the bluefin demon as it laughs in Aang's face, telling him that the demonic power was something a human could never understand. The bluefin demon was finally able to land a hit on Aang as it kicks him right in the stomach, screaming out that it was stronger than Aang. The deadly kick sent Aang flying and crashing into numerous trees in the forest. But Aang was smiling even after having his arm ripped and being kicked in the stomach. As he flies through the air due to the power of the kick, time seemed to stop for a moment. A giant hand made of wood soon appeared behind Aang, catching him in the air and stopping him from flying back any further. Aang then stood up and started to walk towards the bluefin demon, telling it that it was right about how he did not know how strong the demonic power was yet. Aang then looks up and asks the bluefin demon if it knew that Aang was the strongest warrior and that he was good at learning new things. Aang proceeds to tell the bluefin demon that all he needed to do to kill is to learn and familiarize himself with demonic power non-stop, just as his wood-type power seemed to heal and create a new arm as if he was the one-fin demon that took him to the cave. The bluefin demon was shocked to learn that Aang had figured out how to do wood-type self-regeneration in an instant. Aang then shows off his new arm to the bluefin demon, telling it to look and that he did just as he told it, about the fact that Aang was good at learning new things. Aang then takes a heavy stomp onto the ground, before placing himself into a runner starting position stance. He dashes forward with insane speed and with murder in his eyes. As he continued to run toward the bluefin demon, A tree branch appeared right below his foot and lifted it. Jumps off of it to gain speed, and continued to do the same as he propelled himself forward with greater speed with the help of the wood power. The bluefin demon was alarmed to see that was already right in front of it. It tries its best to back away from but something went wrong. It looked at its foot and realized that it was tangled with tree branch skill, which came sneakily from the ground below it. Hands soon appeared on the bluefin demon's face. He grips it hard onto it, causing the bluefin demon to scream in fear as his body releases a deadly red aura all around. Looks at the bluefin demon's face with a smirk. He said, "Don't run away." With the tree branches erupting from the ground to lift up. He now stood over the bluefin demon, causing it to kneel before as he holds its face close to his. Cracks started to appear on the bluefin demon's face as told it that he was getting bored of their fight. The bluefin demon screams out about its insides just as bright green bubbles started to appear all over it. Continues to hold on tight to the bluefin demon's face as it screams out in pain with green lights appearing out of its body. A green explosion was soon seen, just like the ability of Lu. Stood still with his body unscathed from the explosion, but the bluefin demon was no longer present. Shards of blue color were then seen floating in the air. A piece of the blue shard behind soon started to leak water. Water started to flow around a blue core in the air. The bluefin demon had reappeared once more, calling stupid and laughing at the fact that it could disintegrate its body just as it launches another attack at from the back. But spikes soon appeared from below the ground, piercing through the bluefin demon's body in many places, stopping its attack from ever reaching in the first place. Turns around and tells it that he knew about it and that its core, which was vital to demons, was not able to disintegrate itself. Carries himself over to the bluefin demon with his tree branches, calling it a stupid thing and that it had overestimated itself. The bluefin demon tried its best to reach out to its blue core that was exposed due to tree branches. But grabs it right in front of its face. Informs the bluefin demon that once a demon's core is destroyed, even a 7-fin demon would die, much less you. He grins with an evil smile and tells the bluefin demon that he was going to be taking its water-type powers. The bluefin demon soon met its demise as its body slumped over motionless. Its body soon began to turn into water. And water soon flowed down the spikes and onto the ground. Stood victoriously while holding the blue core into the air as the red moon shined brightly in front of him. He then smashes the blue core into pieces and proceeds to drink the water that came out of it, while laughing like an evil maniac. He tells it to make him stronger. Demonic thoughts were invading psyche. Was finally able to absorb the power of the blue core, making him able to use water abilities. He wipes his mouth, saying that the blue core didn't taste that bad. He turns back to see the green healing aura surrounding Lu as she continues to lie on the ground unconsciously. With a closer look, her wounds had been completely healed. He uses the blue core water powers to transform himself into water to head over to Lu's body. He soon arrives with his body mostly in water. Continues to look at her with his eyes fully transformed into the demonic king's eyes. A voice speaks out saying that demons devour, humans kill. Hears those words and repeats them: demons devour, humans kill. As he raises his arm high into the air to strike Lu down with a smile on his face. He then unleashes a powerful downward strike that breaks through the green healing barrier that helped Lu to recover. Blood is seen splattered in the air. Aang's demonic hand could be seen trembling near Lu's face. "Damn it," Aang mutters as he bites his lips hard enough to the point they started to bleed, while veins appeared on the left side of his face. Aang had stopped his demonic hand from piercing Lu's face with his own hand. His demonic fingers could be seen pierced through his other hand. He tells the demonic side of him and the voice in his head to stop it. He struggles to hold himself back while shouting about how he could kill his own ally, and that all he wanted was for Lu to be safe. He curses the voices in his head. Aang lets out a terrifying scream that sends shockwaves into the air, telling the voice to get out of his head. The demonic Feng King could not believe that Aang could resist its will. He smiles and says that it was interesting as he fades into the darkness. Back at the city gates, the numerous warriors of the city are seen battling an endless horde of demons. Snow and Suagio are seen back to back facing the demons, Snow was upset over the number of finless demons that were starting to scale over the walls of the city. He unleashes a powerful blow onto the ground, causing a shockwave to erupt. It sends the finless demons close to the top into the air. He turns to Suejo to ask her where Ong and Lu were, as they were the only squad that hasn't had all their members gathered together. Suejo causally dodges a finless demon's attack from the back. She tells him that she had heard from the other teams that there were 2 warriors who had snuck out of the city and were targeted by one fin demon. She then stabs the blue finless demon in its throat, informing Snow that she believed that the 2 warriors were Ong and Lu. Suejo commented that she was worried about them. Snow is shocked to hear that Ong and Lu had snuck out of the city. Suejo touches her head while telling Snow to stop asking her all these questions about being targeted by a one-fine demon, as she couldn't imagine how bad that would be. Snow decides to unleash his anger onto the countless waves of finless demons, cursing at them and wondering why 2 one-fin demons had to appear. The both of them rush towards a blue finless demon that had reached the top. He tells her that they should focus on enduring the demon wave for now. Jean and Jel are seen rushing back to the city at full speed. They have finally reached the outskirts of the city, where they immediately strike down the finless demons that were within their reach. Joel speeds his way to join Jean and Jel. He then asks about how their cores were doing. Jean was seen in the air with his fist raised high into the skies as countless finless demons watch him. He slams a powerful fist into the blue finless demon, smashing its face into bits and sending shockwaves that pushed away the other finless demons. He then turns to Joel to tell him that his core was not that exhausted and that Jel's core should be in the same state as his. Jel's magnificent chest was moving up and down as she weaved past the countless finless demons. She thinks about the fact that the higher the explosive power, the more core energy is depleted, and because of that the strength exerted becomes weaker. Thankfully Jean and she were able to fight together against the red one-fin demon. If they hadn't done that, their cores would have been depleted, which would have made the demon wave a whole lot more problematic. She sends a finless demon to fly towards another one with an immense leg kick to its stomach. The 3 of them were now close to one another while facing the endless stream of finless demons. Jel asks Joel what they should do next. Joel continues to cut down any finless demon that got close to him, telling Jean and Jel that since they had killed the one-fin demon, the attacks of the no-fin demons had decreased significantly, and since the other one-fin demon is gone, the finless demons that were present were like soldiers without a commander, causing them to attack aimlessly. But although these no-finless demons have no thoughts of their own, they at least understood the idea of the fear of death. Joel then informs Jean and Jel that they should make the endless horde of finless demons fear them. Joel's fighting spirit erupts in a blue aura as he tells them that they should use this opportunity to weaken the finless demon's desire to attack, and to buy time for the soldiers on the wall to call for backup. Each of them had to be wary of their cores as well. "Let's give them an explosive battle this time," Joel shouts with a crazy look in his eyes. The cores on Jin's and Jel's chests began to shine brightly as they agreed to Joel's plan. The finless demons looked up to the skies as 2 red streaks of light shot up into the air. Jean and Jel had jumped up high to the point that they were over the city and its walls. They prepared to unleash a powerful attack from the skies, as Jean tells Jel that they should make these bastards explode till there's nothing left of them, as they both jumped into the skies and dove headfirst downwards. Their paths of red lights intertwined in the sky as the countless finless demons could do nothing but watch them fall from the sky. A powerful red impact in the form of lightning destroyed the ground where the horde of finless demons was, sending the others flying through the air due to its immense shockwave. A gigantic hole could be seen from the sky as a dust cloud formed a circle around it just barely outside the city. 2 figures appear in the dust with their cores shining bright red. Jel informs Jean that this was the second time that they had to utilize their cores in battle if they included the attack on the one-fin demon as well. Jean tells her that if the cores on their bodies had no limitations, he would have been able to utilize this form of his to keep killing the demons. They both then took a step back and launched into a powerful red wave that cuts through the endless hordes of finless demons. Joel stood alone against numerous finless demons that were watching him. His blue aura rises from his body as he comments about the strength of the red cores was truly the most explosive. He then dashes through the waves of finless demons as well and heads towards the city wall. He smiles with joy as he cuts down the endless waves in front of him with his knife. Joel was a battle maniac. Snow and Shujio watched from above on the city's gates as the three squadron leaders tear through the endless horde of finless demons. Shujio wipes out her camera and takes a photo of them, commenting that it was an amazing moment as it was her first time witnessing their squadron leaders in action, showing off how strong they were. Snow watches the squadron leaders with a deep gaze. His thoughts were filled with awe of the squadron leader's strength, which represented the strength of a warrior with a one-finned core. Snow is so jealous as he wanted to be like them. Joel exhales heavily as smoke could be seen coming out from his mouth while a sweat drop drips down his face. Joel, Jean and Jel were now back together with their backs facing one another. Joel asks if Jean and Jel were alright. Jean replies that they were fine and that their bodies could still take it. Jel informs Joel that at least they were having a good time killing these demons. The three of them were standing alone in front of the city's gates surrounded by endless numbers of finless demons. Joel notices that the finless demons were beginning to back away and had stopped their attacks. He informs Jean and Jel that it looks like their plan was working and that it was about time that they cheered up the other warriors. Joel shouts out to the warriors, "Replenish your strength. Keep on fighting. The demon wave has been forced to retreat." The warriors on top of the city walls cheered upon hearing Joel's words as they shout out that their three squadron leaders were the best. Joel heard their cheer and stated that it was wonderful to hear. But something catches his eyes as he shouts at Jean and Jel to watch out as something was coming their way. They sensed the presence of a powerful one-finned demon that had appeared all of a sudden behind the finless demons. Jel wondered if it was the last one-finned demon. The smoke reveals a figure carrying something with a bright red light on its chest. The finless demons did nothing to the figure but only stared at it. The three squadron captains were shocked to see something. They see the figure of An carrying Lu through the demon wave. An wore an expressionless face as the squadron leaders called out his name. An continued to walk through the horde of endless finless demons after the squadron leaders called out to him. The finless demons could only stare at him as he walked by. Jel was shocked to see both An and Lu while being curious about what had happened to the one-finned demon that was with them. Joel became nervous at the sight of them walking past the finless demons, as even though they had beaten those no-fin demons into retreating, An couldn't come to them just like that as they would be devoured by the finless demons in an instant. What he feared soon came through as the finless demons started to lunge toward An and Lu. As the finless demons started to pour onto An and Lu to devour them, the squadron leaders rushed in to help them as Jean yells at the demon bastards to stop. The claws of the finless demons are reaching for An and Lu. Their claws reached closer but An had not yet reacted to their actions. He turns to them with his demonic king eyes and unleashes his red demonic aura, telling the finless demons that were reaching him to get lost. The finless demons were shocked to see the appearance of An and stopped in their tracks. A shockwave came out of Aang's body that sent the endless horde of finless demons back, enforcing their retreat from him. A red finless demon is seen kneeling on the ground before Aang. It struggles and moans before running away from Aang. The other finless demons were shocked to see one of their own runnings away. The rest of the finless demons then followed suit and began to run away from Aang and Lu. Aang could only stand still as the endless waves of finless demons run past him to escape. Jean comes to a screeching halt as he witnesses what had just happened. He was shocked to see that the demon wave filled with the finless demons had actually started to retreat. The warriors on top of the walls soon witnessed the same sight. They cheer and rejoiced that the demon wave had finally retreated, meaning that the warriors had managed to successfully protect the city from it. A warrior was curious about why the demon wave would have suddenly retreated. He wondered if it was because of the attacks from the three squadron leaders that managed to scare the demon wave off. Another warrior tells him that it was because of the squadron leaders' attacks and nothing else. Jean turns around to hear the cheers of the warriors and their shouting from up high the walls. They complimented the squadron leaders' explosive attacks that had managed to strike fear in the enemy and scared them into retreating. But the three squadron leaders felt that something was off and wondered if it was truly them that had managed to cause the demon wave to retreat. Jean then turns to look at Aang, wondering if it was because of him that the finless demons began to run away. Aang could finally let out a deep breath before dropping onto his knees. Jean sees this sight and was alarmed by it. The three squadron leaders quickly rush to Aang's and Lu's side as they see that Aang had completely collapsed, causing Lu to fall onto the ground as well. Aang could barely keep his eyes open as he sees the three squadron leaders rushing towards him. Jean shouts out to Joel and Jel to save them and that they would talk about what happened later. Aang is then seen lying on top of a skull that was seen when he was in his half-demonic mode. A voice tells Aang that he must really like using its power. Aang slowly opens his eyes, showing his tired pupils, and asks the voice who it was. The voice responds to Aang that they had met once half a century ago and that he should still be able to remember it. Aang recalls his memories of the eight-fin demon with wings that had approached his past self when he was dying. He tells the voice that it was one of the two eight-fin demons that he saw and wanted to ask it how many eight-fin demons there were. But the voice tells Aang not to worry about the number of eight-fin demons as he would soon know the number of them in the future. Aang's eyes open widely as he sees the eight-fin demon king chilling right beside him. The eight-fin demon introduces itself to Aang as the Crimson Fin King, the strongest eight-fin demon. Aang could only stare in silence at the appearance of the Crimson Fin King. The Crimson Fin King thought deeply about the fact that Aang was not even scared upon seeing it, which made it no wonder how his consciousness managed to reject its will from before. The Crimson Fin King noted that Aang was truly the strongest soldier. Aang backs away from the Crimson Fin King, asking him why he had chosen him, but the Crimson Fin King assures him that he doesn't have to worry about being harmed by him for now. But Aang brushes off his reply, yelling at him about what was happening to his body. The Crimson Fin King touches his head and notes that Aang has been asking so many questions. The Crimson Fin King's hand had suddenly appeared right beside Aang's face, which shocks him. Another Crimson Fin King appeared behind Aang. He holds onto Aang's face, telling him that he will soon learn about his plans eventually and didn't need to be in such a rush. It points a sharp fingernail at Aang's body, telling him that his body was its as well, and due to a variety of reasons the Crimson Fin King might have to hibernate for a long time. He caresses Aang's naked body with its clawed hands, telling him face to face that in order to keep the both of them safe, Aang needed to work hard on evolving himself in the future. The Crimson Fin King that was holding onto Aang slowly vanished from him as he stares at the other Crimson Fin King that stood up in front of him. The Crimson Fin King reaches its hand towards Aang and continued on from what the other Crimson Fin King was saying, and that Aang needed to get closer to the near-perfect being that the Crimson Fin King was. Aang slowly stands up and laughs at the Crimson Fin King, asking it how low it thinks of us human beings. He yells out at the Crimson Fin King that it was a bastard and that he would kill it while attempting to punch the Crimson Fin King. But a voice shouts at Aang, telling him to wake up. Aang was seen half asleep in pajamas holding onto something. Shujio and Snow could be seen in the background rushing towards him as Aang was shocked to see that he was holding onto Lu's shirt with his fist raised in the air. Aang could stare at Lu's naked chest and commented that it was so white, but then realizes something was off. He had the monkey pervert face as he thinks about what he was doing. A slapping sound is heard in the air. Aang is seen on the ground being grappled by Lu's employees, who cursed him for doing what he did to Lu. They couldn't believe that Aang had the courage to grope Lu, and that even if he was Lu's savior, what he did was unforgivable. Another employee yelled out that they should cut off his hand and kill him afterward. Aang could only take in their attacks as a red handprint is seen on his face. Snow wondered if he should join in or stop it, while Shujio is seen taking photos of what was currently going on. Lu buttons her shirt with an embarrassed look, telling the employees to bury Aang after they were done with him. "Nonsense," said a voice behind Lu, causing her to turn around to see who it was. A man wearing a white uniform is seen standing with the three squadron leaders, asking Lu if that was how she was going to treat the savior of her life. Everyone in the room lowered their heads in the presence of the white uniformed man's arrival. Lu bows her head and calls him father, while the other employees called him master. Aang was still on the ground when he heard what they called the man in the white uniform. It was Lu's father. Joel introduces him as the leader of the famous martial arts sect in Helios City, the head of the Sidhu family called Sidhu Sungong. Joel then asks Aang if, since he was from Helios City too, surely he would recognize the man in front of him. Aang stares and thinks deeply that this man was the father of his comrade and the one who seems to have been taking care of him since he was in a coma. Aang proceeds to bow and show his respect to Lu's father, greeting him as sect leader Sidhu and thanking him for the good care that he had shown him. But sect leader Sidhu laughs it off and tells Aang that it was no worries. He touches Aang's shoulder and informs him that since he had saved his daughter's life, the Sidhu family is extremely grateful for his courage in rescuing his daughter. He turns to Jean and tells him to tell everyone that they can take a rest in the Sidhu family's dojo and that they would celebrate the demon wave's retreat later. The 3 squadron leaders bow their heads and apologize to him for the troubles. He informs the 3 squadron leaders that he had watched them since young so they didn't have to say such things and to treat the Sidhu family's dojo as their own home while taking care of his daughter. He explains that Lu has a pricky personality so they needed to punish her accordingly and train her well but made sure to not show her any special treatment. Jean informs the leader that there was nothing to worry about and that the 3 squadron leaders would do their best. Lu was upset over what she heard her father tell the squadron leaders. But Jean informs the others that they needed everyone to leave the room except Aang. Aang was caught by surprise. The 3 squadron leaders were now alone in the room with Aang. Jean then talks about the one-fin demon that had appeared in the warrior exam and about the demon wave, asking Aang if he knew anything about it. But Joel cuts him off, telling Jean that even though Aang was his own team member, he should not hesitate in his words. Joel then informs Jean that he would do it instead. Joel calls out to Aang to ask him a question. The 3 squadron leaders' aura erupt intensely as they glared at Aang when Joel asked him if he was a demon. There was a brief moment of silence between the captains and Aang after Joel asked the question. Aang remained speechless upon Joel asking him if he was a demon. The captains continued to stare at our boy. Aang decides to laugh off the question and ask them if they were kidding. He explained to the captains that Lu when he had just narrowly escaped the clutches of a one-fin demon, but Joel wasn't impressed by Aang's answer. He tells Aang that the other one-fin demon was killed by Jean and Gel. As he continued to walk closer to Aang, he looks at Aang with a confident look and asks him another question. You killed that one-fin demon by yourself? Joel continues to question Aang by leaning forward, asking him how did he escape with Lu. Aang began to feel uncomfortable at the questions that Joel was asking him. His thoughts started to go haywire as Aang wondered if he was really out of options here. He begins to think of what kind of excuse he could give the captains as they were getting suspicious of them. Joel gives Aang a huge bombastic side-eye that causes his own eye to glow a fiery purple aura. He asks Aang if the reason he was able to escape from the demon's clutches was because he was their accomplice. The bombastic side-eye from Joel caused Aang to sweat profusely as he thinks about whether he should reveal his secret now, but wondered what would become of him if he does. He thought of how the captains would rip him to shreds the moment he reveals his secret to them. Aang continued to think deeply about how the captains wouldn't let this opportunity go. He knew that they wouldn't believe him if he said he was human, as they would treat him as a demon after all, since his body houses the strongest demon called the Eight-Finned King. Joel interrupts Aang's thoughts as he unleashes his core power. A blue aura spreads around them as Joel summons a golden knife in his hand. He tells Aang that if he stayed silent, Joel would have no choice but to resort to violence. Aang's hand trembles upon hearing Joel's threats, thinking to himself about whether he should fight it out with the captains. Gel, our mommy of this manhwa, comes in between both Joel and Aang. She holds onto Joel's arm, telling him to cut it out. She poses in a very interesting way to capture our viewers' attention. She explains to them that only demons with 4 or more fins can turn into humans. To her, Aang didn't seem like a 4-fin demon, but even if there was such a possibility, it would be pointless for him to come into their C-rank city. Jean adds on to Gel's explanation and informs them that demons do not save their companions. They do not understand the concept of comradeship and were selfish and ruthless beings. Jean brings out a past memory and tells them that Aang had risked his life to bring back Lu to the city, so it made Jean not think of Aang as a demon. Joel breaks the tense situation in the air, but cheerfully patting Aang's back. He then asks everyone why so serious, telling the other captains that he knew to stop as he just wanted to tease Aang a little. Joel then tells Aang that it must have been hard on them since he and Lu both cheated death together. Jean recounts Lu's testament that she told them. She stated to the captains that she had fainted while fighting the one-fin demon, and that she doesn't remember anything else. Jean looks at Aang and asked him what exactly happened since he was the one that saved her from its clutches. Even Gel joins in with the questioning with a delicious mommy stance. She asks Aang about whether he had really defeated the one-fin demon. Yes, mommy, he even ate the blue demon core, but we can't tell her that. Even Aang's eyes trembled about seeing her glorious figure after being asked, but he soon realizes that he could come up with other possibilities as he was previously concentrating on the demon within him the whole time. Aang decides to play the role of an idiot and tells the captains that he managed to defeat the one-fin demon because he was a genius. All three captains were too stunned to speak upon hearing that sad excuse from our hero, but nonetheless our hero was happy about his excuse as he blushes. He tells the captains that he could instantly absorb most of the energy in a core and make use of it. This skill allowed Ang to use strength far greater than usual temporarily, which was his secret weapon. Gel reconfirms Aang's claim by asking if it is method of absorbing most of the energy in the core was similar to the effect of the captains activating their core's energy. Ang immediately agreed to what Gel said, hoping that the captains would believe the explanation. The captains briefly and quietly exchange glances with one another on whether to believe Aang's reasoning. Joel breaks the silence with laughter and tells Ang if what he said was really true, then it would mean that he was an actual genius. Jean continues to question Ang about whether he had used the same power during the previous incident to defeat the one-fin demon in the underground cave. Ang agrees with Jin's question and explains to him that the first incident was when he first discovered this power. Ang had felt his body absorb all the energy in the core, so that he could use all that power in an explosive attack. He even managed to blast the demon's body to bits after catching it off guard. But he soon lost consciousness after that because it was his first awakening. This time was when he had used the same method to kill the demon that captured Lu. But because his body couldn't withstand the sudden surge of power, he collapsed right after carrying Lu back. Jean hears the explanation and took a moment to think about it. If Aang's words were true, it would explain why Jean had found his core on his chest broken into 7 pieces. It was probably caused by the absorption of power beyond the core's limits. But Ang was still sus to Jean as he continues to wonder if that really what happened, and if it meant that Ang was truly a genius. It's mommy time to speak as Gel tells Ang that if what he said was really true, then it meant that his ability was beyond his control right now. As his method was similar to how the captains would activate their core power, Gel explains to Ang that the captains had undergone a lot of training. When activating the energy, they can minimize the burden on their bodies because they can control the process. Hence it was important for Ang to not utilize this power before fully controlling it, as it could place him in danger. Jean pushes past mommy and tells Ang that he wanted to put his power to the test. Jean wanted to experience the powers of the so-called genius. Jean exudes a daddy red aura around his body as he tells Ang that they were going to the arena. The scene changes as our boys are seen in the middle of the arena. Ang wears his glove while posing like a male fashion model. Knowing that this test was because Jean was still doubting about what Ang said, Jin's hands are seen slamming against the ground in a heavy manner. He prepares himself in a stance and tells Ang to come on. Ang nervously tells Captain Jean that he would be in his care. Ang looks at the predator mode that Jean was in and knew that he couldn't fight him in his current state, even though the captain's skills were what he considered the most basic of the fundamentals in his past life. But his current body couldn't use those same skills. He touches the core on his chest, thinking about whether he should use the demonic power within him. Brace yourself, Jean shouts as he launches straight at Ang with the speed of a torpedo. Jean takes a swing at Ang as his body was covered in flames, but Ang manages to step side his attack with ease. But the attacks don't stop as Jean takes another heavy step before giving Ang a bombastic side kick to his face. But Ang once again manages to dodge the attack by bending it like Beckham. His eyes were focused on the feet of Jean. Foot fetish maybe? Ang turns around to witness the immense power of Jin's kick as it made a massive gaping hole in the arena, just like your mom after spending a night with me. Just kidding. Gel shouts at Jean to not overdo it. Jean looks down upon Ang and informs him that other than the rest his reaction time was pretty good. Ang continued to think that it was thanks to his battle experience from his past life that made his reaction time pretty good, but he was sure that this was his limit. Jean raises his fist high up in the air and tells Ang that it was time for him to take things seriously. Jin's fist attack slams into the ground as an explosive of dust and smoke is seen along with the destroyed ground. Smoke and dust could only be seen from where the both of them stood. Ang escapes from the explosive punch made by Jean, surprised at the fact that Captain Jean was destroying the arena as if it was his own private property. But Big Daddy Jean appears from behind with his hand stretches out to give Ang a big hug. His huge hand grips around Aang's neck, giving off choke me daddy vibes. Jean looks at Ang and asks him if that was all he got. Ang knew that he couldn't escape from Jin's grasp with his current body state. Jean decides to side-sweep Aang's legs, causing him to fly towards the wall with a heavy landing. Joel and Gel were shocked to see what Jean had done to Ang. Joel tells Gel that this was too much and that they needed to end this here. But Gel reminds him that Jean wasn't the type to take things too far and that they needed to give him some time. Jean continues to taunt Ang. "Is that all you got?" he shouts, telling Ang that he couldn't be a genius with just those skills. Ang held a determined look in his eyes as he hated the thought of being underestimated. He slowly stood up with his butt facing us, recalling his past life where warriors would refer to him as king. To Ong, Jin was still just a kid. Steam started to emit from his body since he called himself a genius. He would fail Jin's test if he couldn't prove it, but since he was reborn, Ong knew that he couldn't live up to the same standards he had in his past life. Ong grew a grin on his face as he thought of secretly using some power from the demonic bastard that was inside his body. Our little boy finally gained the powers of the demon as a deadly red aura covers his body. He starts to flex and walk towards Jin with his new powers. The captains were shocked to see the powerful aura that was emitting from Aang's body as they watched from afar. Aang calls out to Jin slowly as he walks even closer to him. Aang tells Jin that it was his turn to attack just as an image of his past self manifested itself within Aang's red aura. Jin was too stunned to speak as he slowly sees the magnificent aura that Aang was unleashing. It was a massive red storm of aura that compromises of both his past self and the eight-fin demon king. Even more red aura started to erupt from Aang's body as he stood still in a massive crater that had been made from the force of his powers. His synchronization rate was increasing from 18% to 19% to 20% to 25% and finally 30%. Aang could feel his blood being stimulated despite the low rank of his core, but as long as he could utilize the consciousness inside of himself, he would be able to establish and grow the potential of this body. Joel asks Jel if she could feel that Aang's synchronization was still increasing. Jel was surprised to learn that and wondered if Helios City had finally found the genius of the forgotten C-rank city. Even Jin could only stare in shock upon seeing that Aang's synchronization had shot up to 40% and was still growing. He recalls that Lu's synchronization rate was 39%, but Aang had surpassed her by now. Aang called out to Jin, which broke his train of thought. As he slowly approaches Jin, he tells him not to be distracted. How the tables have turned. Here I come, Aang said as he leaped forward with his fist readied. His punch landed straight onto Jin's body, which catches him off guard. Jin smiled upon blocking Aang's attack, realizing that his speed was twice that of the usual and that his stats have gone up as well, but a smile crept onto Aang's face as he calls out to Jin once more. That was a feint attack, Aang shouts as he does a break dancer move on the ground, shocking Jin. Aang had returned the side sweep kick that Jin had given him from before. Jin continued to smile as he praises Aang in his head for doing a good job. Jin couldn't believe that Aang had taken the opportunity while he was being distracted. Jin had blocked him just to be hit in my lower half and lost my balance. What a clever way of attacking someone. But Aang's attack didn't stop there as he readies himself with another stance. Aang lets out one more ferocious high kick which Jin still manages to block with ease. Joel was amazed with the series of moves Aang had made, making him wondered where Aang got so much fighting experience from. Against someone known for their close combat, fighting so closely isn't very good of an idea, a voice said out loud, causing both Joel and Jel to turn around to see who it was. It was Sidhu Sun Gong, the Sidhu family's sect leader. Jel and Joel were happy to see him here and wondered how long he had been behind them as they couldn't even sense his presence. Sun Gong informs them that it hadn't been long. Joel informs him that they had to use the arena, which might have caused a minor inconvenience. Sun Gong was unsure whether the damages in the arena could be called minor, but Joel assures him that Jin would pay for the damages. But Sun Gong said it was alright as he just wanted to see the guy who had the same name as the greatest soldier to ever exist, and to see how well he fights back against Jin. Back to the fight. Jin manages to grab onto the ankle of Aang. The kick had forced him to move back a few inches. I've got you, Jin said with a confident look in his eyes. Sun Gong explains that in the past with Jin, when he was young, if he sees an opportunity to attack you, he'll catch it accurately, even if it's a brief moment. Not to mention that after years of fighting against demons in close combat, Jin had cultivated an incredible battle sense. Aang won't be able to free himself easily from the ankle grab. As Sun Gong was afraid that Aang was going to learn quite a heavy lesson, Jin could be seen with his fist raised high in the air, about to give Aang a beating like how our parents do to us. But Aang smiles and says, "No, I'm the one who caught you, squadron leader Jin." Just as his past self manifests itself in the form of a red aura around Aang, Aang once again bends it backwards like Beckham in the air, which surprises Jin. Aang returns a massive greeting to Jin by giving a huge headbutt. I mean, 2 heads are better than 1, right guys? Sun Gong and the captains were shocked to see what just happened as Jin flew back from the impact of Aang's attack. Jin recovers from the recoil of the attack but grunts in pain while calling Aang a bastard. Meanwhile, Aang gracefully lands back on the ground and tells Jin that the bones of humans are very sturdy, but their foreheads are soft. Take note of this, viewers. Aang doesn't stop his attacks and begins to rush towards Jin once more. shouting at him that it was still his turn to attack. Jin could only stare in wonder, but he soon regains his composure. He readies himself for Aang's incoming attack. "Come get me," Jin shouted as his eyes glow red. Joel commented that Jin was no longer going to hold back anymore. Before Aang could reach Jin had destroyed the ground beneath them in a single move. Aang was impressed by this as it showed that Jin was attacking and defending at the same time. He then stretches his hand out, which showed a faint red glow. Aang thinks to himself that Jin should try a little of the demonic energy he has. The faint red glow soon turned into a massive clawed hand figure in front of Aang. He squeezes his hand hard and used a skill called Crushing Explosion just as the figure of the eight-fin Demon King appeared behind him. Jin could only once again stare in shock as he sees that his attack had been blown away by Aang in a single move. The area was filled with smoke and dust. Aang quickly disappears from the sights of Jin in an instant. Aang then reappears once again from behind Jin just as Jin did to him before. Jel noted that Aang was using Jin's move of using the smoke to get into an opponent's blind spot against Jin himself. Joel called Aang a petty guy. "Imagine getting your move stolen in front of your eyes, guys. Painful." Sun Gong tells the captains that they were wrong because Aang had an incredible learning ability. Jin was able to turn around in time to face Aang's attack head-on. He shouts at Aang, "That's my move. Don't you forget. I'm more familiar with it than anybody else." Jin screams, just as their attacks were about to land on one another. But something happens the moment they fist cross each other's. Sun Gong tells the captains that Jin had lost. Aang had won the exchange of blows. His fist gave out a one-punch man power as a large amount of smoke is seen exiting from Jin's body. It turns out that Aang had missed his punch. Jin could only look shocked from the strength of Aang's fist and wondered if he had missed on purpose. Aang explained to Jin that he had always used the method of restraining his opponent and attacking immediately. If Jin hadn't held back in the beginning, Aang wouldn't have been able to take advantage of him. It was also due to the Jin's forehead concussion that caused his sight to be disorientated, which was why Jin thought that Aang had 3 afterimages, causing Jin to make a mistake, to which Aang used to his advantage. With a confident smile and a wink, Aang asks Jin if he believes in him now. Jin closes his eyes for a moment to think. Is he a genius? He wonders, as a massive fist print had landed on the wall right behind them, giving off Saitama vibes. Sun Gong's eyes lit up like a Christmas tree, thinking that with Aang he might be able to do something for them. Footsteps could be heard approaching the training arena, which catches everyone's attention. Our 2 waifus and Snow appeared at last. Shujio asked them why they haven't shown up for dinner yet, as the Lu family had prepared a variety of delicious food in an extra-large room. But her face was filled with shock over what she sees in the training arena. "What did you guys do?" she shouts. Aang chuckles nervously and tells her that most of the damage was done by Captain Jin. Lu wonders if Aang and the captains had been sparring. Joel teases Jin that he had lost against Aang, but Aang tells him that it was because Captain Jin was used to fighting against demons and was not used to fighting a brat like Aang. Sun Gong laughs out loud, telling Aang that there was no need to be so humble, and since they had sparred enough they should celebrate with a good dinner now. Aang thanks Sun Gong for the offer and tells him that he was going first. Sun Gong stares at Aang leaving in silence. He thought about the characteristics he had shown, such as unwilling to admit defeat, strong, knows how to handle things well since he helped Jin save face. Both his strength and intelligence are full of potential. Sun Gong then calls out to Lu. He looks at her and tells her that Aang wasn't too bad, and if she was interested in him, of course she is. "Our boy is the main character, HUH, she shouts as her face blushes while being shocked over what her father had asked her. The night goes on as the moon continues to shine brightly in the sky. Everyone was seated at the dining room table, talking amongst themselves as they ate. A glass is raised by Sun Gong, who calls out to everyone. He starts a speech off on the behalf of all the citizens living in this city. He would like to thank all of them for their efforts, for those warriors who had battled till their last. We are extremely grateful to them. He then singles out Aang and calls him an amazing young man. He thanks Aang personally for saving his daughter. Aang stands up and bows his head, saying it was his honor and that it was something that he should have done, so there was no need for Sun Gong to thank him. Jin appears out of nowhere, slamming his fist down hard onto Aang's head, causing him to turn from a manhwa into a cartoon. He scolds Aang for trying to take a drink when he wasn't even of age yet. "I'm an adult already. I'm 18. Aang yelled at Jin. He questions him about how all warriors needed to be 18 years old in order to participate in the warrior exam, but Jel laughs at this interaction. She tells him that Jin was just using the opportunity to take revenge on him. Sun Gong joins in the laughter, telling everyone that it was fine. He mentions that it was great that Ang was already an adult. As he mentions those words, Lu looks up to him, her face wore a slightly embarrassed yet annoyed look. Afterwards she lets out a silent sigh and started to wonder. A flashback is shown from when Sun Gong and Lu were in the training grounds. He tells her that he had been watching the fight just now, and that Ang was quite good. His talent and potential was no less than hers. He continues to lecture her, stating that even she, someone who thinks of themselves higher than everyone, would feel attracted to our boy. Lu was puzzled by what he just said, but her inner thoughts was going wild again. She blushed heavily and wondered what kind of traditional thinking was that. She should be the one who's attracted and what not. She tells her father to not be ridiculous, recalling a certain lucky incident from our boy who ripped her shirt open from before, seeing the Nepal mountains in the snowy region. She calls him a dummy in her mind after recalling that incident with him. The flashback ends with Shujio holding her precious camera. She was happy to see that there was so much good food. She giggles over the fact that she and Snow were benefiting from being a part of Aang's group. Snow decides to change the topic. He asks Aang about how he had managed to scare the one-fin demon away, as it was amazing. Aang became flustered upon hearing that question from him. Jean cuts into their conversation, telling Snow that Aang was able to take a portion of a core's strength and use it to temporarily increase his strength exponentially. Jel joins into the talk as well. She explains that Aang's ability was similar to the squadron leader's ability to utilize the core's strength. Aang was able to unlock that dormant ability when his life was in danger, but it was also incredibly dangerous. Since Aang had never received any training for it, the ability would cause a big strain on his body. The more he used it, the more irreversible injuries he would probably get. Joel tells Snow that Aang and Jean had a sparring match just now, and that the amount of strength Aang showed was incredible, but he needed more training. Otherwise his body wouldn't be able to tolerate the amount of strength it can use. Aang thought deeply about whether he should have told them that he had absorbed 2 one-fin demons' cores, and that one of them had the wood-type regeneration ability, allowing for his weak body to instantly regenerate, even if it couldn't keep up with the backlash. Aang brushes those thoughts away, thinking that he couldn't talk too much about it. He decides to just let them think that he had an ability similar to theirs, which was a better option. Aang tells Snow that the squadron leaders were right, and that it was why he probably ended up losing consciousness after using it. He tells them that he needed to train his body a little more, laughing it off slowly. Snow is impressed by this. He tells them that he never noticed that he had such an ability. Snow and Shujio now couldn't fall that far behind him. Shujio whips out her camera, telling Aang that he was amazing, and takes a photo of him. Lu listens onto their conversation, surprised to learn that Aang had that kind of ability, which made it no wonder that he could manage to save her. Jean moves on to saying that originally, Aang and Lu were going to be punished for sneaking out at night, but since they had killed a one-fin demon, they had redeemed themselves from punishment. Both Aang and Lu were glad to hear that. Joel giggles and tells them not to be too happy, since the team competition was still in progress. Jel smiles and informs them that their group was in last place, and that they really should start preparing to push themselves. Aang tells them with a confident look on his face and his fist raised high that their team aims to reach the top. A month passed after the demon wave, and the competition for team points reached its peak. In order to earn more points, many of the teams started going for A-ranked missions, and for a while, missions were incredibly difficult to obtain. As such, Lu and the others discussed between themselves, and came to an important decision, that they would find a golden goose. The red-masked dude was surprised to learn that Aang's group wanted to challenge his team with points. They were betting using their points, challenging other teams. Aang's target was the Black Gun group. Red Mask looks at them, asking them if they remember the kick from the last time they fought. Nonsense, said Lu as she stood with the team. She tells them, 10 points, solo battle, 10 points. The Red Mask said as he places his mask back onto his face. He tells them that the fight between their teams was almost equivalent to an A-rank mission, so how dare they ask for so many points, but the Red Mask was fine with it. He tells them that there won't be a squadron leader Jean to stop them from beating them to a pulp, so they should settle all their grudges right here. All 4 members of the Black Gun group eyes glowed red. Come at use, said Red Mask. We arrive at the town battle arena, where multiple warriors are seen gathering around the arena. Whispers and talks were heard all over. They talked about how a new team was using points to challenge an older team, which made them a foolish team. All of them wondered about which team it was that was being so arrogant enough to challenge the Black Gun group. Red Mask tells them that there were lots of people watching this, and that now would be the best time to admit defeat. so that Aang's team wouldn't come crying about how the Black Gun Group bullied the new teams after they've lost. Aang tells him that the winner has yet to be determined, so there's no way we'd know who loses in this battle. Aang looks back at Red Mask, asking him about why he wasn't representing the team as the captain. He explains to Aang that his team had sent a person up who was a girl, so he did the same to ensure that Aang's team wouldn't use that as an excuse to not give up their points after losing. Thankfully the Black Gun Group's vice-captain was also a girl, and that she was more than enough to face off against Aang's entire team. I see, said Aang as he wore a smile. He then advises Red Mask that he shouldn't look down on their captain either. His eyes glowed as he tells him that Lu was not your usual helpless little girl. Shujio snaps photos from her camera announcing that Lu was starting her fight. The match begins with Lu walking to the girl that had antennas on her head. Her green aura covers her entire body as she tells the vice-captain that they should end the battle quickly. Her inner thoughts were filled with the desire to get all 10 points. The vice-captain asks Lu if she was the young lady from the Sidhu family who was also known as the Unsmiling Rakshasa. Let's see how well you'll do against me, she says while holding a long black needle covered in a deadly purple aura. Here I come, shouted Lu as she dashes quickly to the vice-captain, but the vice-captain manages to block Lu's hard punch with both her arms. As she protected herself, the vice-captain wondered if Lu was really just some green core with a regenerative ability, but her speed was like that of a blue core. But Lu does something that catches her off guard. Her fingers were pointed onto her arms and sparked out a green electrical light. Disarm, she said in a prepared stance. Lu thought about how she was right. Although these older teams became warriors before them, they relied a lot on their teamwork. In solo battles however, they had no idea how to defend or attack. They were great with teamwork but are terrible in solo battles. Green veins appeared on the vice-captain's arms, causing her to drop her weapon and whimpered in pain. She looked at her arms, thinking that Lu had inserted her energy into her muscles so that they would spasm out of control. But Lu's attacks didn't stop there. She tells the vice-captain that leaving herself open to attacks, that's a taboo in close combat. She goes hard, hitting the vice-captain all over her body relentlessly. Red Mask was surprised to see that she was hitting all the joints and tendons. The vice-captain soon collapses onto the ground after Lu had ended her attacks. She tells the vice-captain that the Sidhu family is the best at close combat. Thanks for letting me win. Lu flips her hair and started to walk back. The Black Gun Group remaining members rushed onto the arena to help their vice-captain. The crowd whispers amongst themselves, saying that Sidhu Lu is the brightest star amongst all the newbies, and so Aang's team must have relied on her to get to where they were now. Aang laughs and tells Red Mask to remember to transfer all 10 points to their team. Frustration and anger came across his face as he thought about how Lu was pretty good. He shouts out that he would be going on next, and issues a challenge to Aang. He tells them that they were willing to bet 20 points. Hearing the 20 points catches Lu's attention. She poses seductively and agrees with his bet. Her inner thoughts were happy to know that there was 20 points to be won, but Aang tells her that since their captain had just finished fighting, she ought to take a break. Aang tells Lu to let him go up instead. Red Mask became even more angry after hearing what Aang had to say. He shouts at him that he had no right to do that and to get lost. Red Mask only wanted to fight against his captain. He then poses a proposition to Red Mask. He tells him that since Lu was his captain, then it should be proper for him to defeat Aang first before having the right to challenge her. Aang continues to taunt Red Mask, asking him if he didn't have the courage to fight against him, what else could he do? The vice-captain was able to recover and commented that what Aang said was a terrible way to start a fight as Red Mask remained silent, but he broke his silence, pointing a finger onto Aang's chest. He tells him that he was going to beat him until his own mother wouldn't be able to recognize him. The Black Gun Group members couldn't believe that their captain was baited so easily. Snow calls out to Tomo that Aang was about to fight. This prompts her to take out her camera to take pictures of the upcoming battle. Soon enough, Aang and Red Mask stood alone on the arena as the crowd continued to watch from the sidelines. Red Mask starts the battle by summoning his weapon. He tells Aang that he had changed his weapon to the training weapon that uses air bullets, so there was no need to worry about getting injured, only that it will hurt like a bitch if Aang gets hit. Aang stares at his new weapon, surprised at the fact that there were bullets made for training now. Back in his day, there was no such thing. If gunners wanted to hone their skill, they could only bring real guns to the battlefield. Aang warms up by jumping and tells Red Mask to make sure to aim well. A member of the Black Gun Group shouted out that Aang was really a newbie, since their captain's aim is known to be incredible amongst all the warriors. Red Mask tells Aang that it was good that he was confident. He decides to let him use whatever weapon he'd like, so that he wouldn't dare say the older team bullies him. Afterwards, Ang thought about how he only had a dagger on him right now. However, the weapon he used in his previous life was something that he misses, as that weapon was incredibly unique on its own, and it was his companion as well. He wonders if the weapon was still in that place. Ang tells Red Mask that it was fine as he didn't have a preference, so Ang decides to just use his fists, which would work. Hearing Ang say that he would use his fists made Red Mask give off a confused look on his face. Even the members of his group were shocked to see that Ang was just using his fists. Red Mask began to laugh so hard that he bends it back like Beckham. He was amused at the fact that Ang was going to use his fists to fight against him, and wondered if all newbies were this arrogant. I've given you the chance, since you chose not to use any weapon. I'll let you do just that, Red Mask shouted. Ang digs his ear, thinking that Red Mask was so talkative, and wondered if there was a silencer version of his mask. An image of a lion hunting a rabbit appears. Red Mask tells Ang that even a lion attempting to catch a rabbit will do its best at killing it. Red Mask swears that he won't give Ang any chances, so that he could take back those points they lost with a single breath. Alright then, do your best, said Ang with a confident look on his face. Snow tells Tomo that he would have loved to see their faces after finding out that Ang had single-handedly killed a one-fin demon, and won a spar against squad leader Jean barehanded. Tomo replies back to him that was why she was excited for Ang's fight. Lu thought about how Ang had won against Jean, which she saw as annoying. She begins to wonder if Ang was really better than her. She became all teary-eyed, knowing that as the captain of her team, she couldn't be weaker than her teammates. She blushes as she kept thinking about what her dad said every time she sees Ang's dummy face. She tried her best to remove those from her head. A hand is raised in the air calling, "Ready, let the battle begin." The referee had finally started the battle. Red Mask immediately dashes to the side of Ang. He thought about how the longer the weapon's range is, the stronger the damage gets. Red Mask wanted to pierce 1,000 holes in Ang's body before he even get to reach him. Lu was startled to see the reaction of Red Mask. Instead of shooting immediately, he's using his footwork to find a better position. She was worried for Ang now. Meanwhile, Ang was closing his eyes in the battle. He thought about how the squadron leaders knew the extent of his strength, so there was no need to hide it any longer. His goal this time was simple. It was for the team to get first place. Not to mention that if he were to fight that demon inside his body, he would need to regain his strength from his previous life. But no, Ang knew that he needed to be better than his previous life. He needed to get stronger than what he was before. Red Mask had finally gotten around Ang and was looking at his back. He aims his weapon towards Ang, asking him if he was spacing out. If so, die. He unleashes a powerful attack, shouting out that he won't let him win. Ang finally opens his eyes. To become stronger, the demon in his body, he needed to use it from now on. With his mind more focused than ever, he sidesteps the attack from Red Mask with ease. After dodging the attack, he bends down before instantly leaping towards Red Mask. He came at an incredible speed towards Red Mask, but Red Mask knew that Ang would rush towards him. He loads a new set of ammo into his weapon. "My right hand has tracking bullets, you dumb truck," Red Mask yells out as he aims his weapon towards Ang once again. He unleashes a few rounds of his new ammo. These were sticky high-speed bullets that were hard to dodge, even for those blue-cord demons. The bullets that Red Mask had sent out formed a web around Ang as he reaches closer towards him. Red Mask knew that as long as one of them hits, the rest of the bullets will follow suit and hit the target. Ang thought that this was perfect. He instigated Red Mask into being his opponent so that he could show his strength. As the bullets reached closer to Ang, he uses the water-type core powers to bend his body into ungodly shapes. The Black Gun Group member was shocked to see Ang dodge their captain's bullets. They were surprised to see Ang's speed that was as pliable as water. They couldn't see what he had done. Red Mask finally backs away even further after Ang dodged his bullets. He aims his weapon once again towards Ang, who was inches from him. "Damn it, I was planning to use my ultimate to win this," Red Mask shouted. A member from Red Mask team smiles. He knew that his captain's gun has the ability to store energy inside it. The energy will then match the bullets and fire a beam of energy. Red Mask had finally aimed his weapon at point-blank range into Ang's face. He tell him to try to dodge this strength and accurate explosive bullet at this distance, but Ang wasn't afraid of it at all. His fist glowed bright green as he uses the wood-type core powers. The ground beneath Red Mask's foot began to erupt. Wooden roots appear and clam down onto his foot. He looks at it all confused and wonders what was happening, being confused by the ground. Red Mask had pointed his weapon into the wrong direction. He shot up into the skies instead of at Ang. The crowd goes wild as they realize that Red Mask had shot upwards and misfired. Ong had finally gotten close enough to Red Mask that he could hold onto his weapon with ease. Ong grabs onto it and pulls it closer to his body before karate chopping Red Mask's arm. With a swift turning on his feet, Ong had managed to drop kick Red Mask straight into his stomach as if they were in WWE. The members of his team called out to him with concern together. From a distance they could see that Red Mask had flew back a distance after being kicked by Ong. He slams Red Mask's weapon onto the ground. 20 points, give them to use, Ong declared with a smile on his face, and with his foot on Red Mask's weapon, Red Mask continued to sat on the floor, trembling with pain, and wondered how this was possible. Snow and Tomo cheered Ong on, saying that it was nicely done and that he was so cool. Lou could only think about how she was unable to track his speed. She wonders what kind of footwork has Ong been practicing. After the battle had ended, Ong had won 30 points from the Black Gun Group. Ong and Lou's battles had successfully stirred the interest of the other teams, and many of the young warriors were eager to battle them. Even many of the older teams took up the challenge of fighting against them. After tasting the fruits of their labor, the 4 warriors of Team Lou started to use the rules of point battles to gain their points. With Snow and Tomo's victories, Team Lou had more wins than losses, and their points slowly piled up. With each battle, their team rose tremendously in ranks, and finally, at the end of the month, Team Lou had reached the first place of squad leader Jin's ranks with incredible speed, finally getting the chance to participate in the final competition. The final battle between the top 3 teams will soon begin. Thanks for watching the latest part from the voice of Manhwa. Subscribe for more content and don't forget to comment below what you want to see in the future. Like and share for more.